6 spectacular rounds of the 2011 season are in the rearview mirror. It is here, from the land of 10,000 lakes, that the push for a championship must begin. Round 7 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship is set to start right now, live on Fuel TV. The second half of the 2011 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship is about to get underway from Spring Creek Raceway in Millville, Minnesota. It's the Spring Creek Motocross National. Hello everyone, Jason Wygant, of course, joined by four-time AMA National Champion Jeff Emig here at Millville, Minnesota, a track that a lot of people are excited about racing on, and we're excited to bring you the coverage of it. Let's give you the big picture storylines of the 450 class that'll be coming up in just a moment. Trey Canard is back in action. Last year's 250 class national champion had a broken leg, missed the first half of this 450 tour. He will make his debut outdoors on a big bike today. And speaking of returning, Ryans Dungey is back home. He is a Minnesota native, and he has won on this track for the last 3 years. Can he make it 4 in a row? And in qualifying, a big surprise, Canard, in his first ever outdoor race on a 450, was the fastest of anyone on a 450. So certainly the number 41 could be a championship spoiler today and throughout the rest of this championship season. So Jeff, let's talk a little bit about racing here at Spring Creek. It's a track that a lot of riders say is one of their favorites on the tour, but it's also a track that's absorbed a whole lot of rain over the last couple of days. Yeah, and it's the soil that we have here. It's this sandy clay, so much rain came down over the last week, but it just seemed to just run off. The race course was pretty wet and sloppy earlier today in the qualifying practices, and it was questionable whether or not, you know, how raceable it would be. Right away, you notice that the track, it was okay. Now the sun has started to come out, humidity levels going up, the temperature is going to go up, and the track is going to be unbelievable come race time. All right, well, it's going to be exciting to go racing, and we're about to do that, but first, let's send it down to Aaron Bates on the starting line.
6 rounds down and 6 to go. These guys have had a weekend off. They're fresh, they're rejuvenated, and they've had some time to let their injuries heal. But one guy making his 450 debut, the first of the season, Trey Canard, you're back. Are you as comfortable as you look being the fastest of qualifying overall today, lining up?
I feel really good. You know, I'm thankful to be here, and that's refreshing, you know, to be here and to just really want to be here. I'm very thankful for that, and I'm really looking forward to the race. You know, practice went well, but, you know, I know that's just one lap, and hopefully we can do a lot more good ones this race. Great to see you back, Trey. And Ryans Dungey lined up on the start gate. Ryan, you were the first guy sitting here ready. You're the Minnesota native, a lot of family, a lot of friends, a lot of support. Is this pressure, or is this just excitement for you?
Exciting. You know, I grew up here my whole life and really had a blast, a lot of memories, a lot of good times, and family, friends, and the crowd's great, you know, great people, and it's just really good to be back. I always love it. It's a great track with everything else, and I love riding here, and it's enjoyable, and to see everybody else, it's an added bonus.
Conditions have been changing all day long. Ryans Villopoto is sitting on the gate waiting to get going here. Ryan, take us through. You're one guy that took no time off during that weekend break. You just kept training harder and harder. What do you expect to happen here today?
You know, just it's another race. We'll just get you know, get a good start and put in 2 solid motos today. Goal is to make up points, and like I said, just have a solid 2 motos.
Well, we ended the first half of this 2011 tour with a spectacular event at Redbud. A huge crowd turned out on one of the most fun motocross tracks to race you'll ever find. And we're going to follow that up with another one of the fun tracks today at Millville, and we expect the same type of great racing action. On the last lap for the first 450 moto from Redbud, Michigan privateer Josh Lichtel suffered a seizure on the track. He was quickly taken to a nearby hospital where he passed away 36 hours later. Josh was living out a childhood dream, racing with the world's best at a track he loved. Today, we remember Josh Lichtel. He was 23 years old. Welcome back to Spring Creek, Millville, Minnesota. Fuel TV's live coverage of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Let's give you the 4-1-1 and show you exactly how we're going to go racing today. 450 bikes up next. We'll have 2 motos in this class, 40 riders in each, and each race lasts 30 minutes and 2 laps. We combine both races' scores to determine an overall winner for the day. So that's the format. Let's show you the track map, brought to you by Kawasaki and the 2012 KX450F, fully equipped and race ready. Jeff Emick, talk about Millville.
Yeah, and the proof is all around you that Mother Nature cannot stop AMA Motocross here at Spring Creek. You come down through the sand whoop section. The whoop monster's not around this year.
What?
Where's he at? So you come back up in into the hill section, huge uphill triples and tabletops. This uphill, downhill, back downhill section is so steep. When you walk it, it's unbelievable. You get into a few of the tighter sections. There's going to be some inside ruts there that are going to be a little bit deep for the guys, especially here on the first race. But all in all, this track is fantastic right now.
Well, you mentioned first race. It is the first race for the number 41 of Trey Canard. He has the old guy, so to speak, Kevin Windham, next to him with the reverse of the numbers on his factory Honda. So good to see these guys back in action. Let's get to know Trey Canard.
My injury happened about 3 months ago. We were testing for motocross during one of the Supercross breaks, and just kind of one of those misfortunate deals. Just one small mistake that led into a pretty decent injury, and it was a big bummer for myself to have to sit out the rest of the Supercross series. But I think that just the important thing is just to take positives from it and try to get better as a person and a rider. At this point in my preparation, that this is the next step to me getting better. I think I've reached a little bit of a point where it's hard to keep going forward, and I think that we're ready to go racing, and I think that that'll be my next step in getting better. I think this is a good time for me. There'll be 2 races and then a break, which will be really good for me, and we're just going to go there and do our best, and win, lose, or draw, it'll be a good experience. I think my outlook on racing has never changed. I've always wanted to win races, and I've always wanted to be one of those top guys, and the most I've just wanted to enjoy racing, and I think whenever you're competing well and you're happy with how you're performing, then that's when you're having fun. So, I think that my view is always the same, but winning a championship is just, obviously the goal.
Good to have one of the young guns in action with Trey Canard. And meanwhile, on the opposite end, Jeff Emick's feeling young today because John Dowd at age 45 is returning to the tour once again to try to defend his national number 16. He's got to score a couple of points today. You battled with this guy a lot in your day.
Oh yeah, and at this race, we crossed the finish line. I won by about a foot. To win literally 1 foot 12 inches to win the overall. But we had some great races, and a nice wet muddy day like this, sandy soil, could be Dowd's day, top 10 possibly.
That's true. So we got to watch the 16 of Dowd back in action, the 41 of Canard. We mentioned that Kevin Windham on the 14, who we thought would only race the first couple rounds of the tour. He confirmed it last week. He's racing the whole thing. So lots of big names. Let's go racing in the 450 class. The mud,
Brayton,
Brayton
almost goes down.
And that's Nick Way, I think, who is down on the 27. So he is dead last. And carnage beyond that. And it's Chad Reed out front, series points leader, picking up where he left off. Led the series to the first 6 rounds and is leading here. But look who's right behind him, the hometown favorite, Ryan Dungey.
Ryan Dungey, he's turned a lot of laps on this track, but he's been good here. Won the last 3 years. Couple of 250 wins, won the 450 last year, but the competition this year is so tough. It's so tight between the top 3 in points. And now you throw in 3rd place right here, Trey Canard, 41, who was your fastest qualifier like we mentioned earlier. So he's going to be right in the mix of this. And as far as the championship goes, Canard could be the spoiler here.
How many times have we seen Reed and Dungey hook up like this year? I counted, I think, 5 great battles like this through our first 12 motos. So basically half of the time we've gone racing, we've seen the 22 and the 1 hook it up. It's happening again. It's a tough section, Jeff.
Yeah, watch this uphill double. There were parts of qualifying practice where they couldn't even make that double. And you see how bad the ruts get, and then they come back down, and there's a huge braking bump. There was landing right here, and they actually fixed the track with the bulldozers to smooth that out. because when you would land off this drop-off, I mean, it was like 2 feet deep.
Think that bump will be back?
Oh, it'll be back.
Okay.
It's been here every year. So.
Right. There's Dungey second. Canard hanging right with them in third. Mike Alessi fourth. Brett Metcalfe is fifth, and that is Weimer on the Kawasaki behind him. Then it's Villopoto. So, as expected, most of the big players are up front early. That has been the case. It's Villopoto in front of Weimer now. But for the most part this year, we've seen the superstars get out front together, and that's the case again here at Millville.
A lot of the top guys in points are right up there. You got Metcalfe with pretty good start right here, and you see everyone's kind of single filed a little bit. That's because there's so much roost coming up off the bikes, and the tendency for the track, how it develops in qualifying practice, especially on a day like today, where they have 2 rounds of practice. So when the track was wet and slippery, everyone's trying to fight as that one line gets kind of grooved in. Okay, the last round of practice, they're trying to set that last time to get seated into the heat races here, I mean, into the main events. So the track's going to be a little bit one line at this point, but now that they're racing, riders are going to be forced to go outside of that main line to find a place to pass, or as that main line gets rough and nasty, you find a smoother line somewhere else.
Villopoto, they have dropped Weimer. You see the distance between the 2 Kawasaki riders, and he is trying to go after Metcalfe, but Villopoto lost some ground in the whoops.
Well, yeah, as you get through those sand whoops, they're just so wet and sloppy this year. Now, typically you get on top and kind of skim across the top with a lot of speed, but the bikes are just going back and forth. When both tires hit, rear wheel doesn't want to stay in line with the front. We noticed today in qualifying practice that it was really, bikes were twitchy for everyone.
Right.
Things are going to be a little bit easier now for the riders as the track gets grooved in.
And we have Wyndham rolling up on Weimer next in the order. And these are the type of conditions Kevin Wyndham usually does well in here in the mud.
Looks like Jimmy Albertson rounding out the top 10. And this is
Ty Simmons on the JDR Racing KTM. They've got some support from the factory squad, not the full factory effort like Alessi has a little bit further up. And the full factory KTM is right behind him. That's Andrew Short.
Yeah, and the JDR KTM is backed by J-Star Motors, but they're actually an Australian team that has had a lot of success down under and decided, hey, look, we want to go race in America where the best guys are. So we're going to we're not going to stop what we're doing there. We're just going to add another team here. And they brought on Nathan Ramsey to be the manager and rider coach for that team. And they've had some pretty good results for just a young team.
Yeah, Simmons, a young 18-year-old out of Australia. Let's go back to this battle. Metcalfe on the yellow and the green of Villopoto. And Metcalfe talked to him a couple days ago. Yeah. Did a lot of changes to the bike through the first 6 rounds of the tour. Said just a few more refinements between round 6 and this one. He's feeling a lot better, but he's going to need to feel as good as he can because Villopoto is bringing the pressure right now.
Well, look at the intensity. Villopoto just was in that crouching position. I kind of, to me, it kind of looks like a cobra at times where he's just, oh, look right there. See how when he buries it down in there? And that wet, sandy stuff, it just makes it real sloppy, hard to stay in line and keep your drive across the top, which is what they want to do. But Villopoto, he's really putting out the extreme effort now. He'll know that.
Oh, now Metcalfe is the one that has the problem, but Villopoto's going to be stuck on the outside of this corner and still can't make the pass.
I can't even make my point.
How quickly this is here. It's changing fast. The front number plate of Villopoto's bike totally covered with that wet sand. Look at this battle up front. Dungey is not going anywhere. Canard is not going anywhere. They're right there with Reed. This is what we were hoping to see. Another rider to get up in the mix, and Canard has instantly responded to that challenge. He's looking to make a pass.
Well, and the interesting thing about Reed is I felt that this break was going to be good for him. He took a vacation with his family, and I'm interested to see if he comes back fired up. Now, I know he's got the start. He's out there getting the lines right now. But typically the first motos, if he's got out front, you think, okay, he's going to run away with this because at the last race he won the second moto, right?
Right.
And the first motos have not really gone his way. And then when it's time to step it back up, he has for the second moto. I think he won the first 5
second motos
of the year. And so right now I think it's important for him, especially with the lead. This is going to be a big moment for both of these two leaders here to see who's got it here in the second half. I feel that Reed, especially with the start here, if he doesn't win this moto, there's you know, there's going to be some problems.
Well, on the flip side, you have Dungey, who lamented that he has had trouble this year making the quick passes. He's gotten stuck behind Reed a bunch of times, got roosted, and then fell into the wrong lines, fell into the wrong pace. And he said his goal in the second half is to be more aggressive and attack quickly. Not able to do it so far. And we see Canard has dropped out of this battle just a bit. He had a mistake, and he's lost some ground. So we're back to the 22 and the 1 all alone.
Yeah, and your point about Dungey is that because he's had a couple of DNFs this year, one in Supercross, one here in motocross, and it's setting back
Alessi has actually gotten past Canard here. Sorry to interrupt, Jeff, but that mistake really costly. So now Alessi to third, Canard back to fourth, and that Metcalfe and Villopoto battle is right there with them.
Yeah, what a good ride for Alessi here. Yeah. Take a look at the lap times. Reed, Dungey, Canard were all in the 207s. Alessi, Metcalfe, Villopoto, 208s. Actually, Villopoto was a 209, so he dropped a little bit off the back of the pace there.
Aaron, what are you hearing on Mike Alessi?
Well, you guys, the whole KTM team, they've been working really hard this afternoon trying to get that bike dialed in perfectly, but they have done something that's helped them smooth his ride out. They've slowed the rebound down. He said this track is so rough and tough and choppy that being smooth and concise is going to be the key today.
Yeah, so basically, if you can imagine, if you push down on the back of the bike, there's a spring and there is a shock that has oil and dampening and all this stuff. So they slow down the rebound, close up the dampenings where the seat and the rear fender would, you know, essentially if you push down on it with your hands, it would come up slower. And what that's doing, it would try to, control the back of the bike so it doesn't pop up so much over these jumps, possibly going into turns, and especially going down those downhills.
This is a tremendous race here for third. You got Alessi, Canard, Metcalfe, and Villopoto. And a lot of these guys, they got experience at this track. Canard and Alessi made their pro debuts at this racetrack years and years ago. So if there are any lines to make passes, these riders know where they are. Look at Villopoto. He is trying everything. The fourth rider in this train. Oh, and Metcalfe has gone down. So whatever line Metcalfe found did not work.
Yeah, he tried the outside there. Everyone had to go into the inside. You know, remember in practice, I was telling you, that big bump coming up the face of that. So as the track is drying out, he's trying to find a new line, but looks like it was a little too sloppy out there for the Australian.
Right, so now he's going to go to the back of that train. Reed continues to lead Dungey as Alessi holds off Canard and Villopoto. And we got plenty of time for racing here in this moto. The plot thickens here, live on Fuel TV. Chad Reed and Ryan Dungey going at it for the #1 spot here in Minnesota. And Jeff Emig, Chad Reed's leading. That's good, but he just lost his goggles. That's bad.
Yeah, that is going to... Oh, and Dungey off the track.
How did he save that there?
That whoop section is really tough. You notice Dungey right there. He kind of collected himself. Looks like he's wearing roll-offs on his goggles. Chad Reed, on the other hand, for some reason, either he pulled too many tear-offs. See, look at Chad Reed right there. He makes a mistake, and Dungey says, okay, now's my chance. Wow. And almost goes over the bars, and then as he hits the rear brakes, stuffs the front wheel down, almost goes over the bars forward and back. Wow, what an interesting sequence. But it's going to be difficult for Chad Reed with no goggles, especially as they come into the lap riders. The only other real issue would be some of that sandy mud flying up off of the front tire. And, you know, if from the wind hitting you without goggles on kind of makes your eyes water a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on that as Chad tries to win this moto.
Keep an eye on this battle for third. Alessi still holding Canard at bay, and Villopoto trying to make moves on them. They were battling with Brett Metcalfe, but then Metcalfe went down. So Metcalfe is back to 6th. Look at Canard of the 41. They're just trying to find running room, but on this wet, sloppy track, haven't been able to make passes.
Yeah, but the track's opening up a little bit. I mean, the fact that, we got another yellow flag there for a downed rider. They're going to come around right now. Look at that section. Usually it's just a nice straight run up that hill, and the track builders added some whoops into that, and it totally, as a rider, I'm like, those are totally unnecessary. This track is as difficult standard as what it needs to be. So just another level of difficulty that they've put into that uphill.
Canard used that same outside line headed toward the finish that caught Metcalfe a few laps ago. He didn't go down, but he couldn't make the pass either. Unless he's one of the tougher guys to pass. He knows how to get starts, and he knows how to hold people off.
Now look, Alessi he just pulled his roll-offs there over that tabletop, and he hasn't had anyone in front of him for a couple of laps, right? So as long as Chad Reed can stay out front, he should be all right. But I mean, Alessi still pulled, you know, roll-off film across.
Even without riders in front of him, yeah, his goggles are still getting covered.
Yeah, imagine what Trey Canard and Villopoto are going through at this point.
This week, see why Bruce Lee was considered the entertainer and how he changed the world. Don't miss the biggest names in sports and entertainment. Pay tribute to the master. Bruce Lee lives Wednesdays at 10 Eastern and Pacific on Fuel TV. Now, right now, Mike Alessi, it's been a tug of war here between he and Canard. Canard gets really close. Canard drops back a little bit. Is that a matter of Canard making mistakes and bad lines, or is he backing down to not get all that sand in his face? They're not backing down too much. Here comes Villopoto.
Yeah,
sorry, Jeff.
That definitely is one of the factors. This is Trey's first race in AMA Motocross on a 450. It's his first race in a while after the injury.
Ooh, a couple of riders in the pits. Christian Craig, who's been a consistent top 10 runner, is headed back to the pits on the 144.
And that's Futrell.
Taylor Futrell, yeah.
Yeah, was setting in the mechanics area also.
Looked for a moment that Villopoto had a line dialed in to try to get around Canard, but instead now Canard has closed back up on Alessi. This has been a great battle, but not what you want to have happen. Halfway mark for Villopoto and the men he's battling for the championship. Dungey and Reed are getting away.
One thing that has happened, though, Weege, is you can see that the sun has came out, started to brighten up a little bit. And that's going to help dry this track out. Uh-oh, looks like Canard.
That outside line's not working at all, and Villopoto takes advantage and goes by the 41. Now, you mentioned about a half a lap ago that this is Canard's first race back. Is fatigue or anything maybe becoming a factor in that he's running the race pace?
Well, he mentioned in that interview that he kind of felt that his progress had stopped. It was time to race, and racing is what was going to increase his fitness and all that. So yeah, things probably happen a little bit quick for him right now, because when you practice and you're testing, you're kind of on your own pace. Right now, these other riders are dictating the pace to him.
Send it down to Aaron. What's happening trackside?
Well, guys, don't expect Ryans Villopoto to back off anytime soon. In fact, his trainer, Alden Baker, informed me this afternoon that he stayed back in Florida and had 2 good weeks of training. And the one thing that they really worked on was consistency. Lap times and training was all he did during that week off. He is an animal right now.
Well, he's trying to eat up some ground on Alessi and then the riders between him. What do you got, Jeff?
Well, I'm telling you what good training would be, and that's a lot of positives, okay?
Okay.
When you get challenged, whether it's by lap times, things like that when you're testing, or whether your trainer is challenging you on your bicycle rides or in the gym, and you rise to the occasion, and you overcome those obstacles, and you start checking those things off the list, that breeds your confidence, okay? And he comes here definitely fired up, but having a little bit of trouble getting around these riders here. And it looked like a few laps ago that he was like, okay, I'm on it. I'm ready to pull the trigger. I'm ready to go. But then he found that he's going to have to let the track break in a little bit more than what it is now, because he probably wasted a lot of energy, wasted a lot of tear-offs, things like that.
All right, so the damage is done. You've got a 17-second gap between Reed, your leader, and Alessi, who is in third. We go back to Metcalfe, who was in that battle with Canard, Alessi, and Villopoto until he went down. So he is in 6th. And Metcalfe and Dungey were actually here, got to ride the track when it was dry on Thursday for press day. So anything they learned from there is probably thrown out the window. The track's totally different now.
Yeah, and if you're tracking Junkyard Dowd, John Dowd, number 16, he's running back in 17th at this point.
Couple of points there. Got to be in the top 20 to get national points. Dowd is there. Let's look at Andrew Short, who went 1-1, swept the motos way back in 2005 in the 250 class. And he told me, I said, does that make you feel good coming to a track like this? And he said, nope, just makes me feel old, because that means I won a race here 6 years ago, and that's a long time in motocross terms. So that is 7th place Short. And then behind Short, you have Weimer, who was up front again with that lead pack off the start. But we've seen this happen a couple of times. Not able to quite stick with that pace. This is his first year on a 450. The guy's won a couple of these 250 races outdoors.
Yeah, and Reed turned a 210, Dungey a 209. And then you go back to Short, who's just in front of Weimer, and he was turning a 212 And so the top 7 are pretty close, within a couple seconds. But then Weimer's last lap was a 2:17. Okay, so he dropped quite a bit on that single lap, but looking at the lap times, he should be somewhere between a 2:12 and a 2:14, theoretically. But still, you're looking at 2, 3, 4 seconds off, off the leader.
See that stat there for the veteran here, 33-year-old Kevin Windham has tied for 14th on the all-time list with 10 wins in this class. He's actually tied with Chad Reed. So Chad Reed's up front, might be able to break that. And how about Jimmy Albertson? As privateer gets, is 11th, and he is all over the factory Honda of Windham to try to get into the top 10.
I don't know. I've seen a very privateer. We seen a very privateer moment earlier today with Sean Hackley carrying his wheel to the tire changing area. Yeah.
All right, Albertson maybe had someone to carry his tire for him, but he's still a privateer. And here's Michael Byrne, who is in 12th on the BTO Sports Butler Brothers Suzuki, Australian veteran. And, so many riders this year said, I hope to be top 5 or top 10, but that's the problem. We probably got, 15 riders who expect to be in the top 10, Byrne being one of them. Hard to fit 15 guys in 10 spots. Oh, Tommy Hahn is in the pits of the Moto Concepts Yamaha. And unfortunately, this has been an all too common sight for the number 12. He has had speed for sure, but the results have been hard to come by.
He looks really frustrated.
Let's send it down to Aaron. What do you got? Yeah.
Tommy Hahn definitely frustrated. Tommy, you said that you're okay. What exactly happened out there?
Yeah, I went down. I was in 7th. Off the start, got a good start. Was up there challenging, and just going down a straightaway, and my front end just washed out. I don't know what the hell happened. So go home, go back, get ready for next moto.
All right. So we'll see the 12 back in the next moto as we watch the next rider in the order is the 539 of Ricky Dietrich. He is in 13th. And then you got Fred Noren, the Swede, in 14th. And Travis Sewell in the number 15 spot. So there is Dietrich on the Valley Yamaha, who started the year off real strong with the top 5 in Texas, has not been able to get back to that level since then. He wants more than 13th. Lots of things to see and do here at Millville, including some great racing to watch on the track, and Chad Reed leading it.
We're trying to...
You're watching Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship live on Fuel TV from Millville, Minnesota. And you're watching our one to watch, John Dow, the 45-year-old veteran out of Massachusetts. And why is he here? Well, we had a chance to talk to John earlier today about why he picked Millville as a race to make yet another comeback to try to preserve his national number. John, why are you here anyway?
Well, it's kind of a last-minute deal. It's always been a great track for me. I had my first real legitimate win here back in '94. And they got a real, it's an awesome track. I've always loved it, and I had the opportunity to come up with some of my friends, my sponsors, Kenny G's Performance Tuning, and I just, wanted to bring my son up and have him do some amateur day racing, and really it's just, I'm kind of starting I'm joking around about it, I'm starting my training program for Southwick here, but I do plan on racing Southwick and possibly Unadilla, so I figured I might as well just get out here and get my feet wet and see what happens.
Yeah, John Dowd was always such a favorite when, back in the main part of his career, and that's because he was just relentless. I mean, I raced against him so many times, and it's great to see him back out here again. He's grooming his son here in the sport, so they were here racing some of the amateur stuff, but not quite the pace that he had back in the 90s, it looks like at this moment.
He's still inside the top 20. Hey folks, watch the best Kung Fu Cult Classic films every Saturday only on Fuel TV. That's late night at 12 a.m. Eastern and Pacific. So just go to fuel.tv for the movie titles. It's Saturday night. You're going to be fired up from watching motocross, so surely you can stay up to midnight Eastern and watch some good Kung Fu tonight.
Yeah, the insomniacs can rejoice. They now have Kung Fu.
That's a normal night for me. Maybe I am an insomniac. I didn't know. Now, as we found Dowd, we've also found Reed, who is working his way into the top 20 as far as lapping some of the riders. And Reed is rolling right now.
Yeah, but you see that situation, the 430 there. Porter, yeah. Yep. As Reed was going up that hill, Reed right there, he wipes his eyes. He has no goggles on at this point, and so when he was going up there, he was getting roosted, and he had to lay out a little bit. So he actually can't run you know, as close, you know, as fast through those lappers as those lap riders as he'd like to.
Did you see that bike kick on him? And with Chad Reed, you rarely see that type of thing happen. This track must be brutal.
Well, there is some square edge bumps, and that section after the first turn there, you come down and you're shifting gears, probably fourth gear here on the 450. And, you know, like I said earlier, maybe his eyes are watering a little bit too, and it makes it a little bit tough to see, and that stuff kind of sneaks up on you. So far, so good. Just a little less than 4 laps to go.
Man, every time you count Chad Reed out, every time you think one of these young kids, you know, Dungey or Villopoto or Canard maybe, is going to get the drop on him, he figures out a way to come back and respond. He's been doing it all season long, like you said, a lot in the second motos, but he's looking like he wants to do it in the first moto today. And I know the points gap is not gigantic between either he and Villopoto or he and Dungey, but we're in the second half of the year. These guys are going to have to start making them up at some point. He's just not letting it happen.
Yeah, this has been a great start here to the second half of the season for Reed. A little bit surprised that Dungey fell off the pace a little bit. Now, he was about a second faster last time around, but he's still 5.5 seconds behind and really hasn't been able to do anything with Reed's lead here.
Take us through this. Here's Reed getting sideways on the straightaway.
Yeah. Now watch as you come down through here. It's dried up a little bit, but he hits a little wet spot right here, and there's a square edge in there. A lot of soft sand on top, and a little bit of hard dirt there as that hillside has got carved out, and he found one of those sharp edges.
He has carved out a lead, 5.2 seconds over Dungey, and he's got a good view of it. Doesn't have any goggles on, so he can enjoy this moment because he can see every aspect of this track. Be right back.
Every rider is measured by victory.
Fuel TV's coverage of the Lucas Oil AMA. Chad Reed continues to pull away here. Another tough lap for Ryan Dungey. Dropped to the 2:13 lap times. They were matching each other at 2:09s. So now Reed's lead is 10 seconds. We've seen this happen quite often. Dungey gets to Reed, can't figure out a way around, and then Reed begins to stretch it back out as he's putting Ricky Dietrich a lap down. That means Reed has lapped up into the top 14. He's on the gas.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying right now. Just totally on a mission here. And what I started to mention earlier was that I wanted to see how Reed would respond after this break. He's had an incredibly busy 6 or 8 months forming this new TwoTwo Motorsports and the team, and he's just been, you know, the hammer down the whole time and really hasn't had a chance to take a break. So obviously the trip to the Caribbean has done him some good. He's fired up and ready for this last half AMA Motocross Championship.
And a stat that we uncovered this week, Reed now has 10 overall victories in this 450 class. He'd be working on possibly number 11 today if he can repeat this performance a little later in Moto 2. The first time he ever won one of these 450 races was only 2009, so he's won 10 races over the last 3 seasons, really only 2.5. And in that time, Reed's only won 3 Supercross races. This was a guy that was known as a Supercross specialist, and there you go. Last 3 years, he's won 10 races outdoors and only 3 indoors. He has really flipped it and has become one of the toughest men, if not the toughest man in the game outside. Look what he's doing here.
Yeah, Chad's 3rd all-time in Supercross wins, and he's trying to make his mark right now. Tied for 14th all-time with 10 wins.
1 lap to go for Chad Reed. Goggles or no goggles does not matter. He can put this thing on cruise control because he has a 14-second lead on Ryan Dungey. And Dungey had a nice little moto win streak coming in here, and that is about to be snapped. We'll see if the overall win streak goes down as well. Maybe he'll rebound in the second moto, which will be coming up later tonight on speed. But meanwhile, Chad Reed on the 2-2 has had that red number plate on the bike ever since the end of the first round of the year. And it has been close at times in points. He was actually tied with Dungey at one moment. But ever since he has grabbed that points lead, he has not given it up. And Chad Reed, if there's one word I can describe this guy, it is stubborn. Anytime you think you've got him beat, he says, it's not going to be easy like that, and he figures out a way to respond.
I'll tell you what, this track is stubborn. As you go through that whoop section out of that 180, that inside line, there's nowhere to go. It's just roller, roller, over the jump, roller, roller, roller. You just have to dip down in there. Now, Chad will be backing off the pace a little bit here. Dungey's 10 seconds behind, but still see there's some pretty big bumps starting to form on the track. And next moto, this track is going to be really beat up, and it's going to be challenging.
No, we'll also get a little look at here if Reed holds on to win this moto. When we talked to him on the podium in there, and he brought a little souvenir back from his vacation that he had in the Bahamas. You'll see the new hairdo that Chad has, and he even got a little bit of a sunburn, he said, when he was out there on his tractor working his track in Florida over. You'll see what I mean in a moment when we talk to him on the podium. Hope he doesn't put a hat on.
Yeah.
We want to see the...
He's for sure going to have a hat on.
Well, you'll still see it inside.
So he will have a smile on his face, though, I guarantee. He's got about a quarter lap to go. Totally handled this moto. Rode the pace. Set the pace himself and forced Dungey to try to do something about it, to find a new line. And Dungey put out a lot of effort in there. It looked like Dungey had something for him, but now he's backed off the pace quite a bit. And that's what gives Reed this comfortable 10-second lead. But this is going to be a nice win here coming off this break.
Chad Reed wins here at Millville. And a pretty big gap in the end. Made a joke a couple of days ago that Chad should put on the back of his pants, "Hi, Ryan," because it seems like every time they go racing, he's got Ryan Dungey right behind him. And once again, he's able to pull away from the #1 down the stretch, take a moto victory. Dungey, solid ride for second. Villopoto did get around Alessi to take third. But I don't know if it's too early to count points or not. He will lose 5 more in the championship here to Reed by virtue of taking third, with Reed taking the moto win. Not what Ryan Villopoto wanted.
Yeah, and see the gap there, 30 seconds. When he takes a look at that, he knows that it was big. But that's going to be a little bit frustrating for him. I'm sure Villopoto's going to come out in Moto 2 with some serious energy there.
All right, we'll be talking to these riders on the podium when we return. Chad's hair is all messy. It's hard to even tell it's any different. You'll see in a moment. Stay with us here live on Fuel TV. We'll talk to the winner. Fuel TV's live coverage of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship continues here. We have 1 race complete at Millville and many more races yet to come. In a moment, we're going to be showing you highlights of this race we just completed. Chad Reed making another statement here, Jeff Emig, in front of this big crowd at Millville. A lot of them came to see Ryan Dungey take a victory. But Chad's been pretty popular with the fans this year. I don't think they were too disappointed in this performance.
Yeah, that was a pretty smart, strong ride. And watch the start here. It's the number 22 right in the middle there. Grabs the whole shot with the local boy, Ryan Dungey, just to his left. Nick Way would find himself on the ground.
And a whole bunch of others as well, about 10 feet further up the track. Big pileup. So here's Dungey trying to go past Reed, and watch what happens.
Almost loops out, hits the rear brake, then almost stuffs the front wheel. And that was right at the moment where Dungey was really putting the pressure on Reed.
And that was it. Reed was able to pull away from there. Notice he doesn't have goggles on because he had to chuck him. He was taking on so much sand kicking up from his tire. But it didn't matter. He was able to hold on and win the moto. Dungey finished second, Villopoto third. We'll show you the results here and tell you exactly how it broke down. Moto #1 in the 450 class. Solid run for Mike Alessi on the KTM, finishes 4th. Trey Canard, his first race outdoors this season, and ever on a 450, finishes 5th. Brett Metcalfe had a crash, recovered for 6th. Short, Weimer, Simmons, and Albertson round out the top 10. Let's send it down to Aaron Bates.
It was 1 year ago today that Chad Reed hung up his boots and his helmet and basically walked away from here, uncertain of what your racing career had in store for you. And here you are 1 year later, back up on the top of the box. Is this bittersweet for you, Chad?
Yeah, I remember just riding right behind us here and about halfway into the first moto, and I had nothing to give, and I just wasn't in a good place. So, man, I've been thinking about that, to be honest with you. I want to turn it around, and it's the second half of the season, and I don't want to lay up. I want to keep the throttle wide open and try to achieve race wins.
Now, I didn't have any tear-offs on, so maybe my vision is wrong, but if you wouldn't mind taking off your hat, because I think during your vacation, this is what we're sporting, some cornrows. What prompted this?
No, I went to the Bahamas, and man, since this a year ago today, it's been a hell of a few months, and we started a race team, and the support of my wife and all my friends and family around me. We've achieved a lot of goals, and it was time to reset the clock. Go, have a good time, enjoy the family, and come out and try to do this, and we did it. So huge thanks to all the guys at TwoTwo Motorsports, and one more, try and do it again.
Emmett would like to know if you could get the guy's name that did your hair.
That was 2 girls, actually, so I think Emmett will like that more.
I think you might be right. Congratulations on a great start to the day.
All right. How do you feel about that, Jeff?
Yeah, it looks good.
Oh,
looks
right,
good when it's on the top of the podium. It doesn't matter if you got a big fro wig on or what it is.
I'm not talking about the hair. I'm talking about the people that did it. All right. We'll be right back after this on Field TV. Hillside's packed here at Spring Creek Motocross Park in Millville, Minnesota. They just got to watch a great first 450 moto. When we get a couple more of the front runners in that race down to the podium, let's send it down to Aaron Bates.
It was definitely a wild ride for Ryan Dungey. Ryan, at one point, almost off the bike after the whoops section. How intense is this track, and how much has it changed since the beginning of the day?
It's pretty intense, you know, with all that rain. Made the track kind of sloshy. It's drying out. It's really coming around good. I think second motos will be a little bit better, but had a couple mistakes in the back. Can't be doing that. Allowed Chad to get away and just couldn't recoup. But we'll recover and get ready for the next moto and see what we can bring.
Well, I mean, you could tell he's still in pretty good spirits right now, but definitely needs to pick it up for that second moto coming up.
I'm all about the late night TV. Midnight Kung Fu, also the Daily Habit. That's big talk, big sports, big tunes. Daily Habit is the wildest late night party on television. Weeknights at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, only right here on Fuel TV.
They do so much crazy stuff on that show.
Yeah, it's a variety show. That's basically anything goes. Let's send it back down to the podium there in third place, Ryans Villopoto.
Ryan Villopoto not overly happy with that third place finish. Ryan, what is it that you plan on doing in between motos so you can come back swinging for that second moto?
Maybe a little bit of a bike change. You know, I had a great jump out of the gate, just out front of my gate. It seemed like it was a little bit soft and got bogged down a little bit, but yeah, we'll just come back strong. Not the moto that I wanted, but you just can't thank everybody at Monster Kawasaki, Renthal, Dunlop, Oakley, Parts Unlimited, Thor, just everybody. Thank you guys.
He look happy, Jeff?
Looked a little deflated. So, you know, at this point, you're kind of like, oh, okay. But when you get back to the truck, that's the time where you have to rely upon the people around you to bring your spirits back up, to turn it, try to find some positives in it, make some changes to the bike, and come back out with a new attitude.
We got a lot more racing this year. He can bounce back, and we'll have the highlights from all the motos today from Spring Creek. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on Fuel TV, we have our highlight show. So Spring Creek's coming up this Thursday. And then we've got all the live activity, all four motos, 250, 450 live from Washougal next Saturday, July 23rd, live at 4 p.m. Eastern on Fuel. We'll get that thing kicked off. Then, of course, Thursday night after that at 10 p.m., we'll have the highlights from that race. Couple of weekends off, and then we resume it all upstate New York at Unadilla Valley Sports Center, and we'll kick that show off live at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, again, only on Fuel TV. We're only halfway through this championship tour. If you're Ryan Villopoto, you got plenty of opportunities to bounce back and get some more wins. And we got our 250 class coming up in a moment. But before that, we're going to go back in time and celebrate one of Ricky Carmichael's most dominant performances ever, and it happened right here in Millville. Stay with us.
The 2006 Spring Creek Motocross saw Ricky Carmichael pick up moto wins 14 and 15 for the season. The fact that he did it on a nasty Minnesota afternoon made it memorable. The fact that in Moto 2, the GOAT, greatest of all time, lapped the field made it historic.
It was the last moto of the day, and the bottom just fell out of the sky before the start of the second moto. I mean, I don't even think half the field wanted to even be out there. So we started the race, and I'm coming up. I got the whole shot. I'm coming through the pack and this and that. I'm lapping guys, and there's guys going backwards on the track, trying to get runs up the hill. And next thing I know, I'm lapping some pretty good guys, you know, and I'm like, what's going on here? They must have had bike problems. And I'm like, man, I'm really getting up here. So I kept digging, and my mechanic throws on the pit sign, hey, you can back it off a little bit. They're like, dude, you lapped second place. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, right?
for all of his accolades and accomplishments. 150 career victories, 15 championships, and 2 perfect seasons. August 13th, 2006 still resonates with RC.
It was a pretty stacked field. I had a bunch of guys I was racing. I mean, Chad, Reed, James Stewart, all the great guys were there, and the elements. So it was cool, and I believe I won the championship that day as well. So I'm just thinking, you know, it's all coming back to me in my head, and that was a crazy day.
I remember that one well. I was in the announcer's tower. It was David Villemin, who was the rider in second, and they were cheering RC to get by him to lap the field as if he was taking the win in the race.
Well, RC, as good as he was, 2 undefeated seasons, there were some dry days where he did some serious damage to the competition also, but only rider in history to ever do that.
Unbelievable. All right, we'll be back to make some more history here in the 250 class. Moto 1 is up when we return. Well, it certainly has been an exciting first half of this 250 class battle in Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross. And we're going to see if half number 2 can match up. And when you got these young bucks in the 250 class, you can pretty much count on it because the racing is always exciting. And we're going to bring you moto number 1 from Millville right now. Riders ready to go racing at this Spring Creek National live on Fuel TV. Jason Wygant, Jeff Emig, and Aaron Bates going to give you all the information on this one. We'll give you the big picture storylines in this 250 class. So far, complete and utter domination by the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki team. Those 3 riders there, Tyler Rattray, Blake Baggett, and Dean Wilson, have won every single moto and overall this year, and they are 1, 2, 3 in points. So, second half of the year starting now. Can anyone else get some momentum going? Justin Barsha, Kyle Cunningham, Ryan Sipes. A bunch of riders have had flashes of brilliance, but no one has been able to bump Kawasaki's off the top spot. And that also includes practice today, where one of the Kawasaki riders, Tyler Rattray, was the fastest in practice. So those are the big picture storylines we're following in the 250 class as we get ready for moto number 1. So that's the story. Next, we will talk about this course that they're going to ride on, and we'll give you the track map. Brought to you by Kawasaki and the 2012 KX450F, fully equipped and race ready. This track features the Holy Schmidt jump, named after one of Minnesota's greats, Donnie Schmidt, one of the bigger jumps on the circuit. And last year, Ryan Dungey won the 450 class. Trey Canard won the 250 class. Both those riders racing 450s now. So we will have a first-time Millville 250 class winner. Let's give you that track map, once again brought to you by Kawasaki and the 2012 KX450F. That bike fully equipped and race ready. Jeff, give us a little tour.
Well, off the start, we seen that the right-hander was a little bit sloppy and a little bit wet. They probably went in and fixed that up, so it's going to make that a little better. Now, as you go through the sand whoops, earlier in that 450 moto, they were a little bit sloppy, starting to dry up a little bit, some more lines around the track. The uphill, downhill section, there's a huge double right here at the top that the 250s had a lot of problems with. I do believe that they'll be able to power over that, get through some of these other tight sections up through the uphill and onto the Lucas Oil finish line.
Again, one of the tracks that the riders always say, when you give them the list of what's your favorites, this one's either at the top of the list or near the top, universally amongst all those riders on the starting gate. So what do the riders think of racing here at Spring Creek? Well, we had a chance to talk to these top 250 riders about it.
Millville is pretty good. It's got a nice start, so you know, horsepower will be a key there, and then it's got a lot of sand. So I think the better sand riders will definitely be better on the bottom half of the track, and then the other side has some hills and some big jumps and off-camber corners. So that's it gets rutted up and pretty rough, and I think that's just going to be where somebody gets a good start, and then you just got to be smart and ride your own race there.
It's got some fun jumps where you can kind of style that a little bit, and I don't know, I just really liked it. I think it flows really nice, and it just maybe kind of suits my riding style a little bit.
Yeah, all that comes to my mind right now is those whoops. You lean back and you go through them for about 5 minutes. It feels like you just hold back and you just go for it. So yeah, Spring Creek, it's a little bit sandy. It's got a kind of good mix of dirt, so that's definitely a good thing, but the whoops are just crazy there.
Those whoops really take it out on you though, hitting those whoops down and then turn and then back. That really takes it out on you, and takes a lot of energy also to hit them fast, and obviously a lot of guys jump them, but I think it's faster just to get off the back and just hang it out down there.
And speaking of the track, let's look at the number 46 here. He will be our one to watch. Note the hometown of Alex Martin is Millville, Minnesota, because his parents own the track.
So he knows those sand whoops.
He does know the sand whoops. Now, in his defense, it's not a complete unfair advantage. Most of the year he spends down, like the rest of these guys, in Georgia and Florida and California, to get out of the harsh winters up here at Millville. But no doubt Alex Martin has this layout down pretty well.
Look at the starting lines are from the 450 race, how squirrely the lines are. They look like snakes coming off of the gates. So that tells me that that soil down there is really inconsistent, wet in spots, wet and sloppy. And then you notice as you get down here into the first turn area, just past the 32nd board girl, that gets a little bit wetter there again. So definitely going to be key to get the start. It worked for Chad Reed.
Well, you heard what Ryans Villopoto said at that first 450 moto. He had a good jump over the starting gate and then hit one of those soft spots, and that ruined any chance of getting a hole shot for him. So it is a gamble for all these riders. They got to hope they've got some dry dirt right in front of them. The rules are you cannot step in front of the gate, so you can look at the dirt, but you really don't know what it's going to be like until you actually are racing. And that's one of the tricky things. These guys have good vision and maybe just a little bit of luck.
Audette here. He's got a hole shot this year.
He's on the inside of the 533. Let's go racing in the 250s. And a little pile up there on the outside. Looked like one of the Star Racing Yamahas able to get the hole shot on the inside with Dean Wilson right with him. It's Kyle Cunningham in the 35, but Wilson going to take it away immediately. The 15 to the number 1 spot.
My question is, where's Justin Barsha? 6 hole shots on the year.
Yeah, that's
nobody else had more than 1 except for Barsha, and he's not even in the top 5.
So Cunningham had the hole shot, quickly lost it to Wilson, who has had his starts come around the last couple of weeks. He had trouble in Supercross and early here in Motocross, get consistently out of the gate. Not a problem here. He is out front. Then it is Rattray on the 28 in 3rd.
Rattray has been solid and consistent. Fastest qualifier today at with the 211. Tomac was a 212 and Wilson was a 212.4. So Wilson, the clean track here, a little bit of sun. You notice the track's dried out quite a bit, even from the first 450 moto that we just had here on fuel. But Wilson needs to get out. He needs to squirt away from these guys and grab this moto win. And Chupacabra is inside the top 5 right now.
Yeah, that's Blake Baggett. Now here's this scenario. The number 15, Wilson, you see he's got that red number plate in the bike. He is your series points leader. However, did not take any overall wins through the first 6 rounds. Blake Baggett won 4 races, but is not the points leader. He had 2 bad ones in between the wins. So we'll see how this championship fight works out. There's Wilson, there's Cunningham, there's Rattray.
You know, I like that information earlier when we were talking about Reed's 1-3 moto finishes versus Wilson's 1-3 moto finishes.
Yeah, remember you have 2 motos in AMA Pro Motocross. 3 times this year, Dean Wilson has had a 1st and a 3rd for the afternoon. And not once has that turned into an overall win. Chad Reed has had a 1st and a 3rd 3 times this year, and all 3 of those times he won the overall. So Wilson feels a little unlucky. He's been riding well, just hasn't turned it into an overall win. But as soon as I gave you that stat, you said, well, just win both motos, and then there's easy match, you're guaranteed. And he's trying to do that.
And that's what it comes down to at times, and that's the mentality that you have to have, is going, okay, that 1-3 stuff, all the scores are out of your control. What you can control is a 1-1.
Yep.
Okay, that don't have to worry about the calculator. I won both motos, won the overall. And the difference is in the championship points chase, it really goes by motos. The overall has no bearing on that, but your bank account does, because the riders get bonuses for winning the overall, and you go into the record books as winning the overall. So, like I said, it's not, you don't get a bonus point, let's say, or anything towards the championship. It's all the individual moto points. But there's a lot on the line, and that's motocross. It's all about winning the overall. And if you win the overall, of course, you had the most points on the day, which, of course, is best towards championship points.
And speaking of Baggett, there he is in the 57, all over Ryan Villopoto to try to get into the number 4 position. So we're waiting to see which team can challenge this Kawasaki onslaught. And for the last couple of weeks, it has been these blue bikes. The DNA Shred Stick Star Racing Yamahas. Cunningham and Sipes have been very solid the last few weeks. And here they are splitting those Kawasaki's up. They've got Cunningham in 2nd, Sipes in 4th, with 3 Kawasaki's all around them.
Yeah, Cunningham has shown some pretty good speed and, you know, a consistency. Sipes has shown some incredible speed, but the consistency has not been there. And it seems like whenever he really turned up the dial, it seemed like he ended up hitting the mat. Last couple weeks, starting to settle things down and do a good job for this team here. And then they got one more teammate back there, Swanepoel.
Yeah.
6th.
So 3 of the top 6 spots are that those Star Racing Yamahas. Then behind them, you have Eli Tomac, and then Lance Vincent, who was on the Geico Honda squad as a replacement rider. He is now back to his team Sakai Racing Ankle Sabres privateer outfit on the Honda 245, followed by the 23 Martin Davalos and the Rockstar Suzuki, and the 37 of Darren Durham on the 1110 Mods Honda. Those are the 3 riders battling right now. Put them all in the same exact spot on the racetrack. They're all going for the same line at the same time.
Yeah, Durham on that privateer effort there. Looks like he's going to get to the inside. Oh, look at the kicker that Vincent hit. Oh!
How did he keep that bike upright? He loses a spot to Durham. He'll take that. Will even lose 2 spots. He'll take that over going down.
That was twice in the same straightaway.
Woo. And he's got Justin Barsha, I believe, right behind him in the 17. There goes Barsha to the inside to try to get around his ex-teammate Vincent, and he makes the move.
And Vincent's on the outside. He gets hung out to dry and loses another spot to Nico Izzy. And these 250s, Jason, they just labor down through here. Watch the left-hand side. Watch as Lance Vincent is trying to hold off Durham. Watch the kicker he hits right there, then gets back on it, and watch right there another. Wow. And those square edge bumps, they really are hitting. That sandy soil there is, it's you know, it's that light yellow color, and it's just really hard to see going down through there. Hey, in my career, I've had a couple of uh-oh moments through there, but not quite the highlight package that was.
Wow, and again, he lost a couple of spots in that exchange, but at least he stayed off the ground.
Well, it takes your heart rate and just completely maxes it out. When you're already breathing hard and your heart's pumping and lungs are wide open, and then you do that, and the adrenaline rush that happens, man, it takes a while to settle down after those.
Davalos on the 23 Suzuki, the yellow bike in front of Barsha on the 17 Honda. Davalos backed by Rockstar Energy Drink, and Barsha backed by Geico. Barsha was struggling with mononucleosis the last couple of weeks, but we talked to him earlier today, and he said he's feeling good. Aaron, what are you hearing about the Geico Honda boys?
Well, guys, Geico team manager Mike LaRocco decided that there was going to be no rest for any of the boys on his team. He said 6 rounds in, everybody needs to be a little bit tougher. So what did he do? The Mike LaRocco boot camp. He had these guys running through sand dunes 30 minutes a day. They had to do 100 push-ups right before every moto until their arms felt like jello. They said they have a new respect for training, and they definitely have a new respect for the rocks, Mike LaRocco.
Wow, that's tough. The thing that you have to be careful of in those type of situations when you have the break and you work so hard is you have to recover before it's race time again. Now, all that hard work is trying to build your foundation and your base of your fitness and increase those levels. But you definitely have to give yourself a chance to recover and be fired up for this moto.
I don't know if Mike LaRocco ever gave himself a chance to recover. That dude's tough as nails, and he is the team manager, hoping one of his boys can at least get up into the top 5. We'll be right back. Dean Wilson is your leader in the number 15, but he's got company, and no surprise, it's one of his teammates. It has been these 3, Wilson, Rattray, and also Blake Baggett, 3 Kawasaki boys who have won all the races thus far this year. The only question has been, who will be the one of those Kawasaki riders that wins the race? Wilson's the leader, but Rattray is catching up. Let's show you how Rattray got to the number 2 spot here, Jeff.
Watch this section here. He just makes the choice, now that the track has dried out, to just drive in around the left side a little bit faster. Carried some momentum around there. And in the past, that section is really bermed up, and it'll get like 3 big rail sand berms little bit flat right now, but you can really tell that the track has dried up some, and he's able to use the outside there a little. Is this that same section as he comes down through? I see Wilson going to the inside, and Rattray one line out, just one click, about a 2-foot difference in where they put the front wheel.
Waiting for fourth place to come through. It's Sipes still holding off Baggett. Baggett to the inside. Can he make the move? The exact opposite line that Rattray used, but it still works, and he makes a move.
Same line, but the opposite side.
Yeah,
Sipes
right.
was in the third line out, which was still pretty wet and sloppy, it looked like. And Baggett just came down through that same line with some serious momentum. Nice aggressive move here for the 57.
Now we've seen time and time again about the halfway point of the moto is when Baggett likes to, as he says, drop the hammer. And we're 3 minutes away from that halfway mark. But he better drop the hammer, because the gap between himself and your leader Wilson's about 13 seconds. That's a pretty big amount of room to make up on a motocross track. We've seen him do it before this year, but it's not easy.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to do something special, because Wilson, Rattray were at a 2:10 and a 2:9. Last time around, Baggett was at 2:15. He's not going to catch the leaders if he's 5 seconds a lap off the pace. So we'll see what he can do with a little bit of a clearer track.
As for Wilson, a lot of people were saying that Rattray, the last couple of weeks, Rattray had the points lead, but a lot of people during this break, I talked to a lot of folks about who they thought might win this title. I said Rattray just doesn't seem to have the speed of his young teammates. He's very consistent, he's very solid, he's definitely tough and fit, but the kids are fast. But he's proving his speed right now, fastest in qualifying, and he's actually closed up a little bit on Wilson, running about a second a lap faster, a 2:09 versus a 2:10 lap time. Let's see what Wilson can do now that he's got Rattray right behind him.
Yeah, Rattray has got, to me, he's got a very unique technique and style, and how he sits on the bike, his body language. He's just very efficient, it looks like. He doesn't move around a lot on the bike, and just very still.
Aaron, what are you hearing on 28, Tyler Rattray?
He had mentioned that he had a very productive week off. In fact, they went to Florida. They did a ton of testing on his suspension. They're trying to fine-tune it, make it even better. They said it's great, but any improvements that they can make to give him any kind of additional advantage. He said at this point of the season, 6 rounds in, it is time to win.
Well, he's got his opportunity, Aaron. He is right there behind Wilson, but it looks to me like Wilson found out Rattray is back there and maybe dialed it back up a little bit.
Let's see, as Rattray comes through the second set of sand whoops, if he's as smooth as he was through that one. Now watch how much action the bike has, but his head and shoulders stay in line. They stay very even, and even right then the back was kicking left and right. Head and shoulders stayed right in the same line. That's what you want to see.
There's Baggett in fourth, and he did drop it down now into the 2:09, so he has matched the lap of Wilson. Rattray with a 2:08.8, so now he's going as fast as the leaders, but as we said before, he's got a lot of ground to make up. 14 seconds between he and the riders that are first and second. Sipes is dropping the pace just a little bit, and he's got company. Eli Tomac in the number 19 wants a part of the top 5. There's Tomac in red on the Honda, and then he's got company as well. Swanepoel, the other Yamaha rider, and also Durham are right there. Here goes Tomac to the inside.
Oh.
Sipes able to cover it.
Wow, I thought Sipes was going down right there. The front wheel started to knife on him, but that line goes way wide. Oh, Tomac short on the uphill double. Aggressive riding right now. Look who else is sneaked in there, Durham. So
Durham.
Sipes is going to have his hands full right now.
I don't even know where Durham came from. He was actually behind Swanepoel by the time they got to the finish line area. Now we are a half a lap later. He's not only made a pass, but he has caught the next 2 riders. We've seen this year when Durham starts feeling the flow, he's as fast as anyone out there.
You got that right. Just pulls another tear off there, has come through some of those sections. Now he's going to try to use some alternate lines here, not get blasted with the sand and mud. But this section is so one line coming up through there. See if you get off to the side through those rollers, especially for these 250Fs, it just really kills the momentum, and they just do not have the horsepower that the big 450 engines have to pull out of a mistake on an uphill, whooped out section like that.
They cross the finish line again. Now they're going to cross over onto the start stretch. Oh, and Tomac, nice move on the inside, takes over the spot before Sipes probably even realized he was going to try to make the pass.
Yeah, Sipes, you can see as he went through the first turn, and the mechanics are, uh-oh, rider down at the top of our screen.
Oh, it was right behind that battle. Could have been Barsha, maybe Swanepoel. Trying to figure that out as Durham goes after Sipes as well.
Sipes, when he got past there, he just shook his head, going right through the mechanics area. So, you know,
it was Barsha.
Was Barsha.
Well, this has become all too familiar a sight. This year we have seen Barsha go fast and get good starts, but he has had a lot of crashes outdoors here in 2011.
Doing something. He's holding his nose, his face.
Wow. And we thought there might be a little rebound here. Obviously a tough first half of the year for Barsha. We mentioned he had the mononucleosis that he was fighting. He said that's in the past. He's all good now, but just more tough luck for the number 17.
Yeah, and Barsha was running 8th.
Here is Wilson, who is running 1st. And Rattray, who ran a 2:08.8 the last time around, Jeff, drops back to a 2:11, and that has allowed Wilson to stretch it back out.
Yeah, Wilson's still the fastest rider with that 2:09.2, and Baggett, who sets him 4th, turns a 2:09.7. So Wilson's still a half a second faster at the moment. His lead is safe. He is putting on some a fantastic ride, drawing good lines on the track, and he's really smooth through these rutted sections. Now watch out, Cunningham, Baggett there. Watch how they keep their inside foot up out of the mud. Let it glide across the top there without putting their foot down and having it drag behind them.
So we got one Yamaha rider trying to fend off another Kawasaki 1-2-3 sweep. We'll see if Kyle Cunningham can hang on.
Rated E for everyone.
Get a UFC workout.
Live coverage of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship continues on Fuel TV. Jason Wygant, Jeff Emig, Aaron Bates giving you the call. We're watching Darren Durham, who is in the number 6 spot, trying to get around Eli Tomac, who is in 5th. It's a great battle there with just under 10 minutes and 2 laps to go in this 250 class. More great battles tonight. You can watch the best Kung Fu Cult Classic films every Saturday night, only on Fuel TV. Late night, that's 12 a.m. Eastern and Pacific. Go to fuel.tv for movie titles. Watching Darren Durham slice and dice his way through this Millville track, kind of like you're going to watch on the Kung Fu Cult Classic films tonight. And he's trying to get into the top 5 after a pretty bad start. Aaron, meanwhile, you got a report on Barsha. What's happening with the number 17, Aaron?
Well, guys, I just witnessed the Geico Honda team load him up into the mule and take him back to the pits. He's grasping his nose. There's a lot of blood, and he looked at me and he said, "I broke my nose. I can barely breathe." So we obviously weren't able to get a word with him, but he's going to go get it looked at now.
What's the cause of that? Did he land on his face? Did he get hit by a rock?
Yeah. I mean, you know, on that sequence, he went over the bars, and I just caught it. We were focused on, you know, on the battle in front, but at the top of the screen, I seen his bike flipping. So you know he went down hard. You know, smashes his face into the ground. Wow. Really unfortunate, because he's been battling through, trying to beat this virus and not give up. He's shown a lot of heart, but it's these setbacks like this when you're not. It's the setbacks that you have when you're out there racing at this level and you're not 100%. That's when it starts to get dangerous like that.
And odd, Barsha, by the way, won the 2011 Lights East Region Supercross Championship over the likes of Dean Wilson because of his consistency. And he has been very inconsistent here outdoors. Let's focus back into the 37 of Darren Durham. Really had a great summer on that privateer bike. Doesn't have the big backing from factory Honda, all the trick parts. He's making whatever he has work.
Well, yeah, and that's interesting, because on a day like today, when the rain was, or I'm sorry, yesterday, when the rain was so heavy, the 18-wheelers that Pro Circuit would have here, and a lot of the other teams, they've got these massive awnings, so they can work on the whole team's bikes and everything in a dry area. Now, Durham and his team are out of a small box fan, so you'll have a little easy up type, you know, 15 by 15 tent. And I mentioned how difficult, I mean, that's what we used to have back in the early part of my racing career back in the early 90s. Nowadays they have these 18-wheelers, so it just makes it a lot more difficult for the mechanics and the tuners and everybody on the team, because they just don't have the space that the big teams have.
Speaking of space, Wilson has pulled it back out. It's 2.2 seconds between he and Rattray. So just as quickly as it seems like Rattray's finally got it figured out and is up the pace and is about to go to the lead, Wilson responds.
Yeah, and Wilson has looked fantastic this moto. Really been watching his body language. He's doing it by momentum and technique. He's not necessarily having to exert a lot of energy. You know, I talk a lot about being efficient when you're on the track, especially in the first moto, because you have a second moto coming up. So Dean has been efficient and he's been fast, but there's Lance Vincent that he just lapped, who was inside the top 10 early on. 6 minutes plus 2 laps to go, and Rattray just a couple of seconds behind. This race isn't over yet.
Wilson, long, lanky guy trying to use that leverage right now on a rough racetrack here in Minnesota. Can he carry this bike all the way to the checkered flag and win it? We'll find out when we return on Fuel TV. This kid is feeling at home in Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship Racing. The 46 of Alex Martin made him our Fuel TV's one to watch for this moto because he is the home track specialist. His parents own this track. He lives on the property, and he lives inside the top 10. Jeff, he's come from pretty far back to get to the number 9 spot.
Yeah, pretty impressive here. 11-10 mods. They've got Durham in 6th, Martin up to 10th now. Pretty impressive for a privateer effort like that. No doubt.
A couple of years ago, Martin got a one-shot deal with the Geico Honda team at this race, and I believe got a 7th. So he has been a top 10 runner for a long time, and he is, again, one of those privateers, doesn't have all the backing, but he definitely fights for it. And his dad, John, who owns this track, is a pretty good rider in his own right back in the day, and Alex's brother, Jeremy, is now one of the top amateurs in the U.S. Expect to see him in the pros probably in a year or two. You might see both brothers in the top 10 at Millville.
Yeah, and that's such a great thing to see the family like that enjoying the sport of motocross. Obviously, they have all been pretty talented at it, so have had an opportunity to make a career and make it their life's work. But I'm telling you, I've been really impressed with Alex. I like the effort that he's putting out, and it seems like late in the motos, for the last month or so, he's still passing guys and moving forward. That tells me that he's working hard, and he was working hard on Ryan Sipes here. A little bit of local nod said, Sipes, if you're going to coast into the inside here, I'm just going to blast around the outside right in front of the Spring Creek area. A lot of the fans down there on hot days like to jump in the water and cool off. And I've even seen through this section, if you get a little wide on the right, see there's the creek. Back in the days. No, listen, Jason, back in the days, the sand whoops there, that first section was really right up against the creek.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you get a wheel on a guy, kind of nudge him off with your right elbow, put him into the creek, you don't have to worry about that guy anymore.
You would never. You were never known as that. You were never known as the guy that would pull shot and then drag his feet and create dust. No, not Jeff Ebbing. Never.
Man,
let's ask
so hard on me.
Let's ask Mike LaRocco about those come from behind the tents. A couple other riders to watch here. Will Hahn on the 31 on a comeback attempt of his own. He wants to get Sipes to get 10th.
And he is coached by Mike LaRocco. The push-ups in the sand and the boot camp. Look at that.
And he makes the move. So the hard training via his team manager paying off. But something is obviously wrong here with 25 of Sipes. He is fast, and he's proven himself strong the last couple of weeks. He got 3rd in our first moto of the last race at Redbud. So
yeah,
it's unraveled.
Last lap around where we were at finish line, he was at a 2:28. He seems to be at maybe even a slower pace now than that. So you got to wonder.
He's got P.J. Larson coming up next. Larson returning to race action after a wrist injury in Supercross. And Larson, I mean, at this point, Sipes just in the way. Is that a puff of smoke on the bike?
Doesn't look like it's a tire issue with a flat tire. Chassis, suspension, everything seems to be working fine. So, not sure what the deal is, but it's going to be frustrating because he was starting to build a foundation for success. Things were starting to pick up. Starting to be a little more consistent. Remember, we mentioned that earlier. But.
And one other thing we'll throw at you folks, we raced 2 motos, and your gate pick in Moto 2 is based on how you finish in Moto 1. So you finish way back here, you're going to pick a bad gate. And this week, see why Bruce Lee was considered the entertainer and how he changed the world. Don't miss the biggest names in sports and entertainment pay tribute to the master. That's Bruce Lee Lives, Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific.
Awesome. Dude, the master here today is a Scotsman. So far, so good. He stretched it out to 3.5 seconds, still turning a 2:10. Nobody else is even close to that. It's a Rattray close to a 2:12.
Now, Jeff, you and I were watching practice this morning. We saw how rough and ruddy this track was, and you were saying that it seems like it's harder if you're a big, tall guy on a track like this. And explain why. You would think, oh, you're tall, you can leverage the bike and all that, but what does Wilson have to fight being one of the taller riders?
Well, there is an advantage to that, like you were saying about the leverage, if you can use that to your advantage, like through the sand whoops that we're going to get to.
Yep.
But also when there's those really deep ruts, okay, and the bike sinks in like it was in qualifying practice, I mean, Wilson has to wear size 11 boot, you know, as tall as he is, plus his legs are so long, so when the bike, you know, essentially is, and the bars and all that are closer to the ground in those deep ruts, there's less room for him to get his boot, his leg, and everything in the proper position. But through the sand whoops here, he's been extremely fast through there as he can kind of manual and wheelie his way through. Watch and see if he doubles. See, he gets off the back.
Yeah, working
now,
that bike.
Maybe wasn't the best, you know, the best execution that I've seen here today, but he definitely has an advantage through that section, but the ruts maybe a little bit of a disadvantage.
So what you're saying is literally if you have a wider boot, there's a chance that's going to get hooked on one of those ruts.
Yeah, I would think. You know, I wear a size 9. I raced with a size 8.
What I would wear a smaller boot.
Yeah, but and what Wilson here, what I would think that a tall guy like him with a big boot would have to be conscious of was always keeping your toes in, riding on the balls of your feet, making, I mean, you know, essentially to think about having your ankles out. Now, you wouldn't want to, you know, totally accentuate that.
Yeah.
But just to make sure that you're not on the heel with your toe out, because if you catch your toe, that's when you have a good chance of, you know, getting your foot ripped off the bike in one of these ruts. Ankle injury, knee injury, things like that.
So you would wear a smaller boot to try to prevent that from happening?
Oh, yeah. Wow. They're just kind of squeezing the boots there. I like a little room, though, in my older days, though.
Rattray, he didn't like us doing all this praise of Wilson right now. He wants to go for the win.
Last lap around, Wilson was at a 2:10 and Rattray at 2:11.2. He was 4.5 seconds behind the leader 1 lap ago.
It's closer
this is
than that,
easily, that's close to 2 seconds now, so he's probably closed the gap by half.
Well, here we go. It's going to be a shootout then down the stretch. And here's the finish line, and there is the white flag. So let's see if Rattray can run him down. Good eye, Jeff Emig. You said probably cut to 2 seconds? Almost exactly. 2.1 is the gap. So Wilson better get back on it. Here comes the 28.
Well, and this is the time here. Wilson just got a chance to be comfortable and let his heart rate come down. He's thinking, okay, I'm broken. I got my teammate handled. And then all of a sudden you look back and you go, uh-oh, he's still there. Wait, now I gotta wick it back up, and that's what's hard to do because that adrenaline gets to going and the kind of nervousness starts to set in, especially because now he can hear his teammate back there. He knows what type of shape Rattray's in. He's raced against this guy. He knows what sort of determination he has.
Rattray had a shot at the lead there momentarily as they hit that sand wall. Now we're going to wind our way through before heading back uphill.
Rattray's carrying some really good momentum right now. Wilson's going to have to take some deep breaths, relax his arms and his hands when he hits these big jumps. Apply the pressure, hold on tight, use some energy when necessary, but also try to conserve the energy when you can. This double has been a problem for Wilson. He manuals that, hits the kicker.
Beautiful.
Absolutely perfect.
Whoa! Not perfect there. Lost the front end. Rattray not able to take advantage.
And see, they got the blue flag there. It's Sipes getting lapped.
Sipes continuing to struggle. That's the team manager, team owner, Mitch Payton on the left, Greg King, truck driver there, and technician on the right. And they're concerned. What has happened to Wilson? He's come unraveled big time under pressure.
The pressure, exactly. He's getting nervous right now. Starting to, Rattray's got him right now. You know, he's got him thinking about what is behind him instead of what is in front of him. And they got lapped riders coming up here too, so this thing's closing up for Wilson.
But only 2 turns to go. If Wilson can get through this left-hander pretty clean, he might still have it. Here comes Rattray, going to put the attack on the outside.
Stuffs
One jump to go. Here's the finish line. And Dean Wilson is going to hang on by the slimmest of margins. Half a second between the 15 and the 28. Man, they kept that one interesting right down to the end. We thought Wilson had it. Rattray did not give up, as he never does. And they pulled away, by the way, from their teammate Baggett. No Chupacabra attack in that one. He's down by 15 seconds for third. But Wilson has got to be happy to have outlasted his teammate Rattray and get that moto win.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. You can see the sky started to clear up a little bit, but it is hot and it is humid. All the rain and moisture we've had.
Man.
Look at that. He really exerted some energy on that. And finally, Baggett comes across the line 37 seconds behind.
Well, those two are really pushing each other in the last lap. Baggett, meanwhile, backed it down. So that's a statement. Wilson not only beating Rattray, but this time Baggett was not able to come through and catch them. So Wilson wants to let it be known he's got the points lead and he is not going to give it up without a fight. I took everything he had to win that moto. That's what you like to see, that kind of effort.
Hey, he wasn't throwing that water bottle down either, huh? Just to start the bike, he was keeping that.
Who would have thought on a rainy weekend that the skies would open up and we would get enough sunshine for people to go down and hang out in Spring Creek? We'll be hanging out on the podium when we return. Field. And we've got a Kawasaki KX250F down on the podium taking a moto win. Let's send it down to Aaron Bates to talk to our winner.
That's right. Dean Wilson extends that point lead. Congratulations on another moto win. But Dean, you said no more second place finishes overall. What is it going to take to master that here, that first victory of the season for you?
Yeah, it's going to take good starts for one. That was a good start, got in the lead right away. But man, the heat hit me hard, and I didn't cool down before the race like I usually do. And that's all my fault. And I'm just really happy to still get the win. And I mean, just next moto, get another good start and go for it.
Take us through the conditions today. Earlier it was cool and it was raining, and now the sun's out, the humidity is in full effect. A lot of you guys are really taking your time back there, hydrating. What is it like?
Yeah, it's really gnarly out there, man. It's so hot, and you know, it's complete opposite from the beginning. You know, it was cold, and I was almost going to put a jumper on because it was so cold, but I'm just, you know, happy to get that one, like I said, and move on to the next moto, and yeah.
Hey, Aaron, Emmett here. Ask him about the bagpipes during opening ceremonies.
Yeah, did you hear those bagpipes? Did I fire them up?
That's a good question. Did you happen to hear the bagpipes at opening ceremonies? Is that why you got fired up and went out there and won that moto?
It could have been. I actually did hear it, and it was really cool. And yeah, it was, you know, I just came off my last practice. It was really muddy, and now it's really, really, really dry. And it's good, though, and see second moto. All
right, the bagpipes helped, and some combination of bagpipes and changing track conditions allowed this to happen, which is number one in the moto. Dean Wilson on number 15, holding off Rattray and Baggett. That's another Kawasaki sweep.
Yeah, but how about that with Brock Tickle in 6th?
Yeah, we didn't even see him coming from behind.
Of the top 6.
And Alex Martin's charge all the way through past his teammate Durham down the stretch and finished 7th. And we lost, it was Eli Tomac, who we saw in 5th earlier. He ended up 29th. So that's your top 10. Let's send it back down to Aaron.
Well, Blake Baggett actually took a really big crash on your week off the Friday before. You haven't had too much time on the bike, Blake. How are you feeling coming in here this afternoon, and are you happy with this result right now?
Yeah, I had a big crash and super sore. Not really pumped on it, you know. Won 4 motos in a row coming into this, 2 overalls. So 3rd place, and for them to run away from me like that, you know, they had a gap, and I closed it up a little bit, and then it kind of stayed the same to the end. But try to go get them next time, you know. I just got to thank Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Parts Unlimited, Vans, Volcom, Traxxas, SoCal Super Trucks, my mom, my dad, my trainer, Alden Baker, my girlfriend. And you're going to have to dig deep out here because it's hot. It doesn't look that bad, but it's probably the worst run of the whole year.
Congratulations on keeping it consistent.
Big talk, big sports, and big tunes. It's a daily habit. The wildest late-night party on television weeknights at 11 Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. So there it is, Blake Baggett not happy about the way that performance turned out. And we have our runner-up who's down on the podium there, and Tyler Rattray. Aaron?
Tyler was the one guy just wishing that this track was going to get brutally rough and tough today, and Tyler, your wish came true. It is exactly that. What is it going to take in order to take over that first overall position?
Obviously get the whole shot, you know. The second race I think is going to be pretty brutal on everyone, and I'm feeling good, you know. It was a good race I rode there. I thought I had a good rhythm going. Dean was setting the pace out front and setting a good pace, and yeah, I just want to thank everyone from Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Parts Unlimited, Thor, Vans, Volcom, my wife, my mom, my dad, everyone. Thank you.
Tyler, it seems to be you 3 guys under the Pro Circuit tent that's going to continue this down to the end. What is the camaraderie like amongst you guys right now underneath the tent?
Well, you know, the vibe's pretty good under the tent, you know. We keep the racing fair, you know, we're all professional athletes, and we're on the best team, so we all expect to be up front winning. And, you know, I think it's pretty good. You know, we have a good atmosphere in the team, and Mitch treats us all fair, which is awesome. And, yeah, it's been an awesome team to race for sure in my career.
Well, we've seen some 2-rider battles on that team for a championship. We've never seen 3 go all the way down to the wire, but that might be the scenario we're going to have in 2011. We'll be right back with more from Spring Creek. Well, we've wrapped up some great first motos in the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship live on Fuel TV. Let's give you our highlights with the Moto 1 250 class race recap. Here's a move, Tyler Rattray trying to get in the number 2 spot. He steals away from Kyle Cunningham.
Flies around the outside, and he would put the pressure on, but it was Barcia in the same section that goes down possibly with a broken nose after going over the bars.
Yeah, so he's out of that moto. Up front was Wilson. Rattray gave him everything he could handle right down the end. The heat and humidity, the rough track was really getting to these two. Dino digs down deep, and the number 15 hangs on by, what is that, half a bike length over Rattray to win that moto, and immediately gets doused with some cold water. Strong ride.
0.6 seconds, actually.
That's close. Meanwhile, our 4th place finisher, Kyle Cunningham's down with Aaron on the track. Aaron?
That's right, a very strong ride for Kyle Cunningham. And Kyle, luck finally kind of turned around for you, especially the bad luck that you had on your week off. It's not all that funny, but you walked across a pool filter, the plastic cracked, and you ended up slicing open your big toe so severely that you needed to have stitches, but you never did because you're tough enough that you just used duct tape instead. How did that affect that ride out there?
It didn't affect me too much out there, no excuses. You know, I got a really good start. I think I had the whole shot or pretty close to it. And, you know, I rode a good race. It's really hot today. I didn't expect it to be this hot. And, you know, I got to give it up to the DNA Shred Stick, Star Racing, Yamaha guys, Scott, Enzo, Cosworth, FMF, Dunlop. You know, they've done a great job, and they stay behind me 100%. We got really sick a few weeks back, and I battled through that and some little nagging things, but I'm happy with the 4th. And, you know, I'd like to stay up a little closer, but we're making progress every weekend, and I got to give it up to these guys. Like I said, we're really working hard, and, you know, we got 2 years in the next 2 years, so it's going to be great.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Man, that kid is becoming Mr. Consistency in that tour. Way to turn it around, Kyle Cunningham. We'll have our second motos coming up on Speed, our 450 class Moto 2 coverage tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern. The second moto of this 250 class will be tomorrow, Sunday afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern time. That's all the coverage from Spring Creek from Millville, Minnesota. And don't forget, when we race next weekend at Washougal, Washington, these beautiful rolling hills will have 4 straight hours of coverage. We'll have the first motos on Fuel TV from 4 to 6 Eastern. Then we'll take a break and then turn it over to Speed at 7. And we'll have our second motos from the 250 and 450 classes. So we'll have every single moto live on television from Washougal next weekend. So I don't care how good the weather is outside. Around watching television next Saturday. Great racing here in our first motos. Want to thank you for joining us live on Fuel TV as this championship tour continues. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Jason Wygant. Great return to action for Trey Canard. Spectacular performance by Chad Reed. Proving the doubters wrong once again, taking a moto victory. And Dean Wilson, he wants to prove he's the fastest man in the 250 class by winning the 250 moto. Congrats to him, and thanks for watching. The series is already in the books, and we look forward to more great racing in the second half. Let's give you the big picture storylines we're following today. It's the second half. Can anyone respond to the challenge that the top 3 riders in this series have put forth? We're looking at riders like Kevin Windham, Andrew Short, Tommy Hahn. Can they even get a podium finish, let alone a win, through these final 6 rounds of the year? Ryan Dungey is your hometown favorite today. He is from Minnesota. He has won this race the last 3 years in a row. He's gunning for a 4-peat this afternoon. And we might have someone in there to break up that big 3. It's Trey Canard, last year's 250 class champion, who makes his debut on a big bike today, returning to action after a broken leg suffered in Supercross. So let's talk a little bit about racing here at Spring Creek, Jeff. This is a race that a lot of the riders circle on their calendar as one of their favorites. It is a brilliant racetrack to ride on.
It is, and we had quite a bit of rain leading into this event. Rain stopped earlier today. Qualifying practice was good. Now the sun is out, the humidity is up. These second motos are going to be really tough here today, but the track is shaped up brilliantly. The soil here is amazing. There's a lot of uphills and downhills, big jumps. Of course, the sand whoops that these riders are going to have to battle. They're going to have to dig deep. Like you said, this is the start of the second half. This is the championship push, and so I can't wait to see how this turns out here today.
All right, let's give you the 4-1-1 on how motocross works. The key is that we race not one but two races, and then we total up the scores from both to determine an overall winner. And each race lasts 30 minutes plus 2 laps. We've already completed Moto 1. We'll show you Moto 2 in a moment. Now that's the format. Let's show you the track. We've got a GoPro onboard lap, and Jeff, we're headed to the most infamous section of this Spring Creek facility.
Yeah, this is earlier today in qualifying practice as Nick Way, Valley Motorsports, Rockstar Yamaha, tries to navigate his way through, and there was so much moisture. You can see on the left side of the track there, Spring Creek, over there, that these were really sloppy and really messy, and the bikes were twitchy. It was back and forth, not a real defined line through there. I do believe here in this second moto that section's going to speed up. It's going to be a little more like usual, and those guys are going to be flying through there.
Let's take a look at the track map brought to you by Kawasaki and the 2012 KX450F, fully equipped and race ready. Let's hit it, Jeff.
Through the first turn, Nick Way, who was our GoPro, he was down in the first turn. Come through the sand whoops, the line to the left on the first set. Line's going to be on your right through the second set. You have got to get on top and skim those. Look for some good lines through here. Down the hill, back up the hill, a massive double. A couple of downhills again, huge braking bumps, tight rutted sections. You got to be clean through there with your technique. Up another hill, down through the Lucas Oil finish line. That's a lap at Millville.
Now, we mentioned our first moto is already complete, so let's show you the highlights of the first 30-minute and 2-lap race out here. Big crash. Watch the right side of your screen. Nick Way on the blue Valley Motorsports Rockstar Yamaha ends up on the ground. A whole bunch of other riders were down just a few feet off to the left. Here's your battle out front. Chad Reed of the 22, and right behind him, Ryan Dungey.
Chad Reed was out front leading, but watch on the outside here as Brett Metcalfe tries to take a new line. It was still too wet and too soft as he plowed his Suzuki into that outside berm, lost some spots.
Dungey ready to go for the lead and challenge Reed, but watch this.
Gets the front wheel high, brings it back down, stuffs it in the sand, somehow keeps his Suzuki on 2 wheels as opposed to his teammate Metcalfe.
Meanwhile, Ryans Villopoto is struggling, trying to work his way through traffic. Here he's going to get Trey Canard, who fell off the pace just a tad in his first race back. Trouble for the number 12, Tommy Hahn, in the pits. He'll be back for this second moto. Chad Reed holds off the challenge from Dungey, wins the first moto here at Millville. That'll set the scene for moto number 2. Reed, your series points leader, extending it by just a bit, but as you can see, the boys chasing him for the championship, finish right behind him. Here's your results. Reed on top. Dungey finishes second. Villopoto was able to make his way into third in front of Alessi and Canard. Metcalfe, Short, Weimer, Ty Simmons, and Jimmy Albertson round out the top 10. Let's send it down to the start. Aaron Bates.
13 motos in the books, and Chad Reed has won 7 of those. Chad, what is your approach? You won that first moto here today. What is the approach as you head into the second round?
Same approach as the first one, you know, try to get this whole shot and take advantage of that, and in a tough racetrack that's tough to pass on. So it's hot, it's humid, and I feel like I'm at home in Florida. So, you know, I go try to have some fun and win another moto.
Everybody's sweating, including myself. We've got Ryan Dungey, who made a couple of changes in between motos. But Ryan, that back tire, you guys were running the most aggressive sand tire that you could possibly pass. It's almost like a paddle tire, but legal. What is it going to make a difference for the second moto?
Yeah, that was just a little bit more aggressive. It was really muddy that time. It just felt really comfortable, but ended up making it going back to our regular tire. Track looks like it's drying out, looking good, and get off to a good start and see what I think the track's going to be pretty good this go around.
Best of luck. These guys definitely have their challenges ahead of them. And Ryans Villopoto getting ready. Ryan, frustrated during that first moto. You went back and you requested some changes to be made on your bike. What exactly are you looking for out of the second moto?
Good start and solid, just a solid moto. Get up front and let's race with these guys. You know, I started back in the pack a little bit and I just had to work my way forward, and with the track being so one line, it was hard to pass and they got away. So try to put myself in a better position this moto.
All right, that's our progressive pre-race report, which means we are ready to go racing. We'll have 450 Moto 2 in just a moment. On the last lap of the first 450 moto from Redbud, Michigan privateer Josh Lichtl suffered a seizure on the track. He was quickly taken to a nearby hospital where he passed away 36 hours later. Josh was living out a childhood dream, racing with the world's best at a track he loved. Today, we remember Josh Lichtl. He was 23 years old. We're back, ready for moto number 2 here at Millville. Let's give you the keys to the race on one of the newcomers to the series. Jeff, that is Fredrik Noren out of Sweden. What does he need to do? This, of course, brought to you by RockyMountainATVMC.com.
Well, this is his first trip here to Millville, and he's going to learn that there's sand whoops. You need to get on top here this moto. Of course, they ride a lot of sand back where he's from, so it may be a place where his strengths show. He needs to race for the top 10. He was 14th in the first moto, was actually up a couple of positions higher than that, and look for him to have a good, strong ride here in the second moto.
All right, so that's one of 40 riders in this moto. Chad Reed took the first moto win. Ryan Dungey was right behind him. Dungey won the 250 class here, 2008, 2009, and won in this 450 class at this track last year. It's his home track, got a lot of people supporting him. Can Dungey make it happen in this second moto, Jeff?
He certainly can, and he needs to use the crowd, all the support that he has. I don't think we spoke to one member out there in the crowd of the fans that wasn't cheering for Ryan Dungey here today.
There was no reason to even ask who people were pulling for today. It was Ryan Dungey across the board. And speaking of the board, it is sideways, which means it's time to focus down on the starting gate and go racing from Spring Creek. This time, Villopoto has the good start. He's out front on the number 2 with Reed, Weimer, and I believe Dungey right there. So once again, all the favorites up front, Jeff.
Trey Canard right there inside the top 5. I think he sneaked around to the inside, but this is exactly what number 2, Ryans Villopoto, needed to do to gain some momentum and get some positive stuff happening. Now look, Jason, they've smoothed out the sand whoops to entry, but it's Chad Reed on the inside.
Reed going after him. Let's see who beats who to this hard left-hand corner as the whole field tries to negotiate one of the toughest sections in all of motocross. And Reed handles it best. He's looking to make a move. Villopoto's going to fight back around the outside, but Chad Reed takes the number 1 spot.
Boy, is Chad Reed rested and recovered after that vacation and a weekend off. He is fired up here in the number 22.
Oh! Reed launches! We got trouble! Chad Reed is down and down hard! Unbelievable for your series points leader. It has been a long time since we have seen Chad Reed have a crash of that magnitude. And Villopoto, Dungey, Canard, they just saw it firsthand. That's got to shake them up as well to see someone of Reed's stature crash that big.
So Villopoto out front, that puts, he's got a couple seconds already over Dungey, as you can see. And Trey Canard, I spoke to him in between motos. Just as I suspected, the race pace kind of caught him off guard a little bit. Even though he was the fastest qualifier in practice, he's been practicing and training at home. The speed of the race and the intensity was too much.
Are you kidding me? Chad Reed is back on the motorcycle? Wow. How can this be? That bike has got to be bent. How is he not hurt? He must have been 20, 30 feet up in the air, Jeff.
See his team manager, Dave Osman, there. They were taking a look at it. It looks like the silencer, looked like the bars, everything was pretty clean.
Listen to the crowd going crazy.
Watch the replay. He hits a kicker, a square edge. You remember in the first moto, he did that also. And watch, he loses traction. And look at Chad, hits the downside. Fortunately,
that is unbelievable.
That is your highlight of the year. Let's just go ahead and just...
Absolutely.
I'm not sure.
He is back racing, and he might have a shot. He's not that far back yet. He's not a lap down. He might have a shot to maybe even score some points in this moto if the bike can hold up.
Well, that's exactly what he's going to need to do, is now it's time to charge. Okay, he's been so consistent. He hasn't been outside of the top 3 or the top 5 all season in any moto. So now Chad Reed finally has this moto where he's really going to be challenged. That's a scary one, but it's time to put that out of your mind and get back after it. I'm telling you, I've been in that situation before, Jason, where you're that high in the air looking down and whew.
You see him working out the arm and shoulder. We hope he's okay. I mean, it's certainly adrenaline's carrying him right now. Will Reed go past the mechanics area? Will he stop for... No. He's not stopping, he's going. Unbelievable. Watch this. Chad Reed back up and in this race. Welcome back. Ryans Villopoto leads early in what has already been a dramatic second moto of your 450 class of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship from Minnesota. Wednesday night, car show with Adam Carolla is all new. AC/DC's Brian Johnson races a Lamborghini through New York City. The boys give driving lessons to some beautiful students. Don't miss the car show Wednesday night, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on Speed. Yes, they're going to teach some ladies how to drive a stick in a Dodge Viper.
Yeah, but I'm concerned about the Lamborghini. Are we going to see that thing stuck in traffic, or are we going to actually see him flying through the streets of Manhattan?
Unless it's 4 in the morning, I don't think there's any chance of flying through. Ryans Villopoto is flying through here at Millville, but not without some serious drama already unfolding. Here's Ryan Dungey in second. Now, before we went to break, Chad Reed was leading this race and had a huge crash. He's back up and racing in the 34th position. There's Trey Canard. I'm wondering, Jeff, for these 3 riders that saw that crash right in front of them, they don't know if Reed's up and okay. Are they a little bit freaked out over that? I mean, Chad Reed is the last guy you usually see have something like that happen.
Yeah, when you watch the replay, focus on Villopoto, and he was looking back the whole time to see where Reed was as it was happening. Totally in amazement.
Great racing here. You got 32 of Weimer, the 24 Metcalfe, and the 10 of Justin Brayton. And Brayton on the Muscle Milk Toyota Yamaha considers this the home race. He's from Fort Dodge, Iowa, and it's about 3 hours from here, so we saw a lot of Brayton shirts in the crowd. Yes, pretty much everyone's cheering for Ryan Dungey today, but there's a few Brayton folks out there as well.
Yeah, and I spoke to Brayton in between motos too, in between the motos also, and I said, wow, that first turn, you almost went down with Nick Wade. He says, did you see me crash in the sand whoops? That's what you needed to see. So, first moto, he was a little bit off the pace from where he wanted to be, but now back inside the top 10 here, putting in a solid ride.
Now we got one of these classic motocross scenarios here. Jake Weimer and Brett Metcalfe seem to find each other more often than not. It doesn't matter if it's a battle for 5th like it is right now. Sometimes it's a battle for 8th or 9th or 6th or 7th, but they always seem to hook up. I talked to Mehdi about that after our last race at Redbud. He said, yeah, and he's run into Davi Millsaps a bunch of times this year too. Millsaps skipping this race with a knee injury. Here we go again. Weimer versus Mehdi. This time
look at Metcalfe running all over the place trying to find some different lines. Wow, look at the momentum here.
And Metcalfe able to get around Weimer and take over 5th. Now, also remember last week, Metcalfe was riding the second moto with a cooling vest on. And for a little more on that, let's go to Aaron Bates.
That's right, you guys. Metcalfe, he allowed me to borrow his ice vest, and I kind of want to wear it all day with how hot and humid it is. But this is what a lot of these guys wear. They ride it up, they wear it all the way up until the gate drops, basically. They give it to their mechanic to take back and put it back into the freezer, and this whole thing is water and ice. So it keeps their core temperature down, prepares them to go out, and especially helps for moto number 2 of the day. But we thank Metcalfe for allowing me to borrow this.
Well, I don't think she's going to take it off.
No,
she's going to use it the whole rest of the day.
Well, the good news for Aaron then is that today Metcalfe actually remembered to take the vest off. He did not intend to race with it in the second moto last week. He said about halfway through the moto, he didn't understand why he was sweating so badly. And then at the end of the race, he said, I cannot believe I forgot to take the vest off.
So
he forgot to
take
it off.
It kept him cool in the beginning, and then it melted, and then it kept him from...
Well, the situation is it actually works 2 ways. You can put it in the microwave to heat it up. So once that thing gets hot, it's designed to keep the heat inside. So good luck with that, Aaron, in about 10 minutes. We'll see what happens. Tommy Hahn here in the 12. He had a rough go of it in Moto 1. He is back here for Moto 2. He's in 8th, battling it out behind Brayton and Weimer.
Yeah, there in Moto number 1, Tommy went down pretty hard. He said he was just going down the straightaway. Front wheel twitched on him, threw him down pretty hard. He was really frustrated, but he's had a couple of races like that this year where he's took some pretty hard falls, but I tell you, he just keeps rebounding.
Yep.
He keeps getting up. I am so impressed with his determination. His speed this year has been exceptional too. Just needs to limit those mistakes and those big falls, because you just never know when that was going to take you out of the series. You know?
Well, I made a mistake. I thought they were behind Brayton. In fact, Hahn has gotten around Brayton, so they were in front of him. That's Weimer 6th, the 12 of Hahn 7th, Brayton 8th. Then you got Andrew Short and Kevin Windham rounding out the top 10. Been a tough summer for both these guys. I think Hahn probably wanted more, and Weimer certainly as well in his debut on a 450 for the factory Kawasaki outfit.
Yeah, and these guys, the last time around, Weimer was a 212 and Brayton was a 213, dropping off the pace a little bit, especially considering Villopoto is out front. The top two, Villopoto and Dungey, are at a 203 and a 204. The fastest time previous was a 209. That's where Canard, Alessi, and Metcalfe are running. So Villopoto and Dungey have stepped it up 5 seconds, 6 seconds a lap. Pretty impressive.
Hahn is really hanging out to try to get around Metcalfe here. You saw him hanging off the back of the bike a couple of sections, still not able to make it happen. They're putting a little bit of distance, though, on Brayton, so they are both pushing the envelope.
That section down through there, I could just remember coming down through there in the second moto, and those kickers are starting to form, and you just got to hold the throttle open, and you're riding the rear brake a little bit, trying to control the twitch in the rear end. Uh-oh, Hahn here on the outside. But it's gnarly because you're just wide open, like fourth gear through there, and then you hit that right-hander. It's a pretty intense section.
We saw Villopoto have a couple of intense moments, not only the one where he watched Reed go flying literally off the track. We saw a few little mistakes from Villopoto, but he has straightened it out now and pulled away.
And watch Villopoto here on the progressive hole shot coming from the right side of the box. And look at this, he's got a wheel on Dungey. Alessi's there. A couple of Yamahas, Hahn and Brayton on the outside. But fortunately, everyone makes it at least to the first turn without going down, because in Moto 1 we had 2 guys down before the first turning.
Little mistake there for Villopoto, feet off the pegs. On this type of track, Jeff, is it pretty much a guarantee that you're going to have some off the pegs moments?
Well, at the pace he's running, it's going to happen.
He's definitely on the gas right now, but pulling away from Dungey early here in Moto number 2. Villopoto looking for a big rebound. So here is Chad Reed, scratching, clawing his way through. He is up to 24th place after one of the most spectacular crashes you'll ever see in a motocross race. I cannot believe he is, I'm not going to say uninjured, but at least feeling healthy enough to be racing through traffic. Jeff?
Yeah, watch what happens. He gets his weight to the right just a little bit right here as he wheelies. Then he hits a square edge bump.
He's 30 feet in the air. Has to be.
So fortunate that he lands on the downside of that grassy hill. Now right here, look, he's trying to keep his feet under him so that he doesn't go head first. He did a great job of that. And those are really scary. And he's so fortunate that he didn't get hurt and that the bike was okay. And he's back up and going, trying to grab championship points. He's up to 24th, 22nd, it looks like now. 2 positions away from actually scoring a point.
And we're only halfway through this race. He could really move up, maybe up on the top 10. Now, Jeff, talk about that. You said you've been in that situation before. They called rolling up the windows, where it's a car without power windows. We were just cranking them. It doesn't always end as fortunate as it does for Chad.
No, definitely not, and especially in the race situation. And like I said, with the bike and all that, he's definitely not riding as aggressive and at the pace that he is capable of. So not sure if he is injured under there or if he's like, okay, I just need to keep my cool right now and try to get some points here. But he's not riding with a lot of energy, like any desperation and urgency right now. But he's still picking up points on guys. He's getting ready to go past Nick Way. Way's 21st. Albers, the 212 last time around, was in 20th, and 20th is where you start scoring points.
Now, do you think Nick Way realizes what happened? In the first moto, Reed lapped up to around 13th place, I think. He doesn't think he's going to lap down, does he? It's a little early in the race.
Yeah, we're 13 minutes plus 2 laps.
So it's too early. These guys are racing Reed right now.
Oh, yeah.
And unbelievable what Reed is able to do. He's about to get into the points right now if he can get by Way. And this could be the biggest pass of all. Because then it makes picking himself back up after that crash worth it. You got to get in the top 20 to score any points in these motos.
Yeah, well, those guys made some passes last time around. So to finish, Chad was second. This pass on Nick Way is going to give him 19th.
Unbelievable.
2 championship points. And I can tell you, 2 is better than 0, but I'm sure that Chad is going to try to grab more than that. And we're a little past halfway in this moto. This is the part of the moto where a guy like Chad really can excel. Like I said, even though he's not really at the pace that he's capable of, last time around his lap time was a 2:14. He turned a 209 in the first moto, and track's a little bit quicker, or it has been quicker. So he's just trying to put in a good, safe ride here and grab some valuable championship points. So we'll see how far he can make his way up to here.
Jeff, I can't imagine the feeling that he must have when he approaches that jump every lap again, and you saw him get a little sideways. You almost can't avoid it. It's so rough and then also slippery at the same time. I mean, I'd be afraid to jump that thing again.
Well, yes, but you have to put that fear and the risk and all that stuff out of your mind, and what you do is you say, okay, I'm not taking that line again.
Okay.
Or now he's well aware of where that square edge bump is. Okay, but definitely try to correct that mistake. Also, the second thing is that he's so on point that he's riding so loose and so comfortable that when he hits something like that, he was not ready for it.
We got a battle on our hands here. Kevin Windham on the 14 trying to close up on Justin Brayton. That is 8th and 9th, and then you see Weimer in 7th, not too far in front of them. So Brayton is the middle of this trio. Weimer just going out of view. Then there goes Brayton, and now Windham. And Windham admits that the sand tracks are not usually his favorite. He likes tracks where the bike stays in one spot underneath him. And as we saw there with Reed on this track, the bike's going to do some dancing around.
Yeah, Windham was 11th in the first moto. Not sure quite what happened there, but he's definitely capable of much better finishes. Sure. Right now, running 9th, about a 2:12 lap time. Our leader, Villopoto, has slowed down. He was a 2:08, but Dungey's still at a 2:05. So the race for the lead may tighten up a little bit here as we see Windham in 9th.
All right, so you got the Villopoto, Dungey, Canard, 1, 2, 3, Alessi, Metcalfe. Then we find this battle. You got Hahn 6th, then Weimer, Brayton, Wyndham. The three we're watching right now.
Yeah, and the
Short
thing
behind him at 10.
is 6th. Hahn is 6th, and there's back to short. There's really only about 8 or 10 seconds. So we've got a good group right here. Some fairly evenly matched riders that are pretty tight.
Yeah, 6
all
through
of them
10.
turning about a 2:13, 2:14 lap time.
And here we'll see the gap between Short and Wyndham. There he is. So yeah, they're all within basically the same camera shot. So one little mistake from any of them, and that can change in a hurry. Got to give credit though to Hahn. He's managed to go through a bunch of these riders to get up to that number 6 spot. And
I'm telling you, Hahn has been impressive this summer. You know, he's hit the mat. He's had some hard crashes, but he's always been able to get back up, get himself healthy.
Let's see if Andrew Short can make a run here from 10th, try to make his way toward the top 5. Like we said, 5 riders in front of him are all pretty close. So if they make a mistake, he can take advantage. If he can rally in the last 10 minutes, he might be able to get them. Fans here at Millville help keep these riders motivated. It's tough today in the heat. At the top of our show, we mentioned our Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com keys to the race on the big Swede, Frederick Noren. Who knew that he would actually become part of the championship equation today? Slowing down now, but he was battling Chad Reed for a little while. What does he need to do? Keep going.
Well, I mentioned the first 2 earlier, but be prepared for the heat. It looked like
maybe not.
The heat up here in Minnesota with the humidity might have got to him, but who it has not gotten to is Ryan Dungey, who is now 1.3 seconds behind Villopoto, and let's see how he got there.
Yeah, Dungey closing the gap. Villopoto makes it a mistake, Jeff.
Watch this. He's trying to get around lapped riders here. Gets way off the side of the track into a bunch of the soft stuff. And Dungey has closed it back up. 1.3 seconds. They're both turning a 2:08.
All right, plenty of time left in this moto. First, check out the countdown clock at the top of the screen. 6 minutes plus 2 laps. So Dungey has time to make a move. Now we have both motos that count here. Look at the event points as they run. If you combine the 2 motos right now, Villopoto will edge Dungey by 1 point and win the overall for the day. So if Dungey makes the pass on Villopoto, he is your overall winner. If Villopoto holds him off, he is your overall winner. So it's all about this last 5 minutes and 2 laps and who can pass who.
Yeah, and we don't use the simple scoring where a first is a 1 point, a second's a 2 point.
Yep.
Our point system goes 25, then a 3-point gap back to 22, and then 20 for third. So you get that extra little bonus point for winning the moto, and Dungey needs it.
And listen to the crowd come to life as Minnesota's favorite has closed right up to Villopoto. He's going to try to make a move around the outside. Going to jump back down.
Dungey has needed to do something really special. He's been so good and so consistent, but hasn't had that on-fire ride. And this is the place where you come for the rider. You
Look
need,
at this.
you know, you got to win at your home track.
Well, we talked about it, Jeff, leading into this race. Would the home track advantage give him that little extra burst? You thought it might. It sure looks like it has. But he still has not been able to make the pass. Villopoto is very tough to get around.
Villopoto is spectacular at this racetrack, this time of motos. He knows how to get it done. 3-time 250 motocross champion. Had one of the most impressive second motos that I've ever seen a rider have, ever, in 2007 when he was battling.
Dungey's got an impressive second moto going here as well. He's going to drag race down the inside. Can Villopoto beat him to the spot? He does. Another lap in the books, but it is as close as it could possibly be between the 2 and the 1.
4 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Dungey trying to use a little local knowledge here, switching up the lines, giving Villopoto all that he can handle. But you notice Villopoto in his body language, he's not broken down. He's not, you know, there is no sense of urgency. He's still riding his pace and his race. Very comfortable out front.
Dungey going to try the outside, gets a little sideways. Can he make the move?
Taking the wide line, but what can he do with all that momentum? Dungey all over the place, left, right.
And not able to make it happen. And Dungey has said several times this year, he's got to figure out new lines. He's been stuck behind guys like Reed and Villopoto in a lot of these races. He's definitely trying different lines.
Oh, he's putting out so much effort right now. Here's Dungey around the outside.
Woo! Over the same jump where they both saw Chad Reed almost end his season. They both step up, clear it, negotiate it together, and head back downhill.
Let's see, Dungey tiptoeing around here. He was really quick. Watch how he cuts to the right over this little single. Not quite as close as last lap around, but now he's going to try a tighter line. This is great racing right now. The premier class, 2 of the sport's best.
Dungey
going
coming
at
down
it.
that hill so hard, Jeff.
Watch this here. He squares him up around the outside, maybe.
And once again, Villopoto beats him to it. It seems like Villopoto, Jeff, knows the section that Dungey's trying to beat him to.
Yeah, but look, Dungey is all over the place trying wide lines, and you would think that he's going to lose a little time, but no, he stays right there on the back wheel. He is really quick right now. He has got the speed on Villopoto, but he just needs to find a passing point.
We have never really seen Ryan Dungey rough anyone up, you know, use the motorcycle or his body to push somebody out of the way. We're in the second half of this championship fight. Dungey needs to make up ground. Is it time for him to get aggressive?
Yeah. Well, he is getting aggressive. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, takes a face full of sand. We drag race through one of the roughest sections of this track again. You mentioned all those big holes through here.
Look at Dungey. He just seems to have a little more momentum in spots.
Oh, this could be it. And once again, Villopoto beats him to the spot. Great move by the number 2.
Let's see what sort of run Dungey can get here through these sand whoops. He's been riding this track and these sand whoops since he was a young boy. Knows to go to the outside right here. Yeah, he's going to funnel right back in. Outside didn't work for him last lap around.
Yeah, you're right, Jeff. He's been able to pull right back up on Villopoto, but now time might be on Villopoto's side. He has staved off this attack. Dungey got to him about 5 minutes ago. Here he goes to the inside, and Dungey takes Villopoto down. The crowd goes crazy, and on the other hand, we were wondering if Dungey would attack like that. Unbelievable. This could shake it up. Trey Canard is in third. He's 50 seconds back. Villopoto's got to get the fight started. He does. Now the question is, Jeff, was that racing, or was that the first ever time we've seen Ryan Dungey?
Hey, that was a really aggressive move, and Dungey was so close so many times. He's seen an opening and went for it. I don't think that they touch. We'll take a look at the replay, and wow.
All right, we'll give you a replay and we return. We've never seen Ryan Dungey attack like this, side by side. Villopoto goes down. We'll reset it when we return to Millville. Thursday, hitch a ride on an all-new American trucker as Rob gets up close and personal with the most famous and iconic American big rig. It's a Freightliner adventure on an all-new American trucker Thursday at 10 Eastern, only on Speed. Well, Ryan Dungey, we've never seen this type of aggression from him. Jeff, take us through it.
Watch, he sees the opening, carries his momentum around, and Villopoto doesn't get through clean. Now Villopoto tries to pull up out of the way, and watch Villopoto trying to stay away from Dungey's rear tire, and just stuffs the front wheel of his Kawasaki in here. Watch this one more time. Gets a little wide and then hits that soft dirt right there on the side of that hill.
What makes the bike come to a complete stop? Did he just grab front brake to try to avoid running in?
Stuffed it in there, knifed the front tire as he was trying to miss Dungey's rear tire, but it was totally aggressive, no doubt about it. And that move is going to give Dungey the overall if he can keep it on 2 wheels to the finish.
What a run here for Trey Canard in 3rd. First race of the year outdoors, coming off of a broken femur. That is a thigh. That's the biggest bone in the human body. Back now and in 3rd. Solid run in Moto 1. Going to back it up here in Moto 2. Should be good enough for an overall podium. Amazing run. And by the way, it's his first ever race on the 450cc bike outdoors.
Yeah, but it's not his first femur break.
No, did this a couple of years ago on the 250, yeah. So, I don't know how these guys do it. It's the same thing where we saw Reed have that big crash earlier. He's able to, focus past that. You break a femur, Jeff, you know plenty of riders who have had that. It's a tough injury to bounce back from mentally. It's almost like it never happened to this guy.
That's exactly it. You get injured, the best guys have the ability to just, blank that out like it doesn't exist, and
right.
Just move forward. And it's with little injuries. It'll be for Chad Reed here. It'll be, he's got some visual memories of flying through the air like that.
Right.
But he should have the ability to just put that behind him and act like it never happened and keep racing.
It's unbelievable. He's up to 15th place, so he has passed 25 riders after the crash. And you know that bike is twisted up. He's got to be hurting. So many stories to cover here. Canard, Reed, Villopoto going down, and this man, Ryan Dungey, spurred on by his home state fans. A lot of people saying it was a must-win situation for Dungey. This was his track. This was his opportunity. He took advantage. But guess what's coming up on the calendar 7 days from now? Ryan Villopoto's home track at Washougal in his native Washington State. So maybe a chance for a little payback. Although we don't think Dungey did that on purpose. In fact, after the crash, we saw Dungey look over his shoulder. I think he was surprised that Villopoto had gone down. He was almost wondering where the Kawasaki was.
Well, the point situation for Dungey, came in here with 246 and Reed 268, so 22-point gap. Lost 3 points the first moto to Reed. But at this point,
he's going to gain 19 the way it is right now.
Reed's sitting in 14th right now. That gives him 7 points. First is 25.
Oh, Reed's moved up one more, and every point counts. Reed's about 7 seconds behind the next rider in the order, Michael Byrne. I don't know if he's going to have time to get him, but basically you're looking at the end of the day, Villopoto, Dungey, Reed, almost a dead heat, all three at the top of the point standings. When this race is over, we didn't think this championship could get any closer or any more exciting.
Yeah, certainly not the way that Chad Reed rode Moto 1. Grabbed the whole shot, dictated the pace, and Dungey could not do anything with it. Looked like he was pretty frustrated, but positive here on the grid walk for Moto 2. And once again, this makes 4 years in a row that Dungey has won at his home track.
Pete. A lot of people wondered, would Ryan Dungey find that extra spark, that extra aggression at his home track? And he did. He's going to win it in front of the home fans at Millville. And an exciting way to do it, too, running down Ryan Villopoto and making an aggressive pass to get the win. And he's making up a whole bunch of points in the series as well.
When it's time to get...
Flies through the air while leading the race.
And gets up and finishes 14th. We thought it was all over. Maybe the season, maybe everything. Good 30 feet in the air. And here he is about a minute later. Did not even go a lap down. Got back in the race. Past 26 riders. Meanwhile, Ryan Dungey runs down Ryan Villopoto late and executes this pass, not only to take the lead, but it caused Villopoto to go down. Don't think that was Dungey's intention, but it was enough to prevent Villopoto from fighting back, Jeff.
Yeah, watch Villopoto stays wide and he stuffs it in some soft dirt and goes down. And that would give up the overall.
So Ryan Dungey wins Moto 2. He had a second in Moto 1. Reed won that one, but was not a factor to win this one. Meanwhile, we've got Aaron Bates, who has caught up to a very sore and very lucky Chad Reed. Aaron?
Very lucky indeed, Chad. A spectacular crash. You had a long time to roll up the windows out there. What went on from your perspective?
I didn't even know. I was actually excited that I made a pass on Ryan. I was aggressive right away, and next minute I know the handlebars just got ripped out of my hands, and I was winding up the windows. That was the scariest crash I've ever had, and man, I hit my head pretty hard and felt like I was going to throw up at any time in the moto. So just any points helps. I didn't even know where I finished, and tough day, but you know, championships are won on your bad days.
A true warrior today, Chad Reed.
Unbelievable. Every point's going to count now. When we show you the standings later on, you'll see why it's so close between these two, or these three now that Dungey has actually rebounded. Incredible. Lots of drama today at Millville. We'll talk to our podium finishers when we return and try to sort this all out.
This summer,
well, so much to discuss here at Millville. Let's talk to someone who has a first-hand perspective. Let's go down to Aaron, who has our winner, Ryan Dungey.
Well, some people might consider it home track advantage. Ryan, you've had so many laps on this, but so deserving today. Take us through that ride, and also take us through the pass that you made on Ryans Villopoto.
Well, I got off to a pretty good start, right? I think I was third. Was able to move my way into second, and Villopoto started to open up a little bit of a gap, but you know, I knew it was a hot day. I knew it was going to be a tough one, a lengthy race, and it ended up being that, you know, he maybe got caught up in some areas, but was able to make the pass coming out of that sand wash area, the last corner, and it feels good, man. It feels good to win in front of the hometown crowd, but really special to have everybody here. You know, they root. It takes a lot of people to make this happen, and I'm so glad we can all celebrate it together.
4 years in a row you've pulled this off here, 2 in the 250 class, now 2 in the 450 class. You've got over 45 family and friends here, but this entire place was chanting on their feet for you. Did that give you the extra energy that you needed to pull this off today?
For sure. You know, to have that behind me is an added bonus, and you know, my whole family really, but absolutely. You know, to be able to grow up here with my family, and I've seen all the hard times. I know what it's like, and I'll never forget it, and it's all that much better when we can celebrate and be up here, and I just want to say thanks to them. Thanks to the man above. He makes it all happen, you know, and my mom and dad, everybody, and family, brothers, Lindsay, and the whole crew, Team Rockstar, Makita Suzuki, and Dunlop, Showa, all you guys. Thank you.
All right, he has won 4 straight at this track, but none of them were as dramatic as this one. Villopoto picks himself up, holds off Canard to finish second. A solid day for Mike Alessi, finishes 4th, Brett Metcalfe 5th. Weimer, Brayton, Hahn, Short, Wyndham. We mentioned that was a great battle back there outside the top 5, and that's the way it broke down. Wow. Just unbelievable if the second half of the year is going to be like this week to week. It's going to be crazy headed down to the finale at Pala. Let's send it back down to Aaron.
A tough day for Ryan Villopoto. Ryan, just when you were making the pass happen, something went drastically wrong. Take us through what happened from your perspective, because Ryan said that you guys actually didn't touch.
Yeah, no, it was, I mean, from the start I had a great start. Dunlop tires just hooked up really good off the line. You know, rode awesome, I think, the first half of the moto, and then I got caught up with some lappers, and man, you know, it's hot, track's rough, so wore on me a little bit, but he got beside me in the whoops, and we came out of the turn, I got on it, and then I was on it just a little too long because he had a little more momentum when we came in the turn, and we didn't hit, but I couldn't turn down because he was there, and then my front wheel was in the powder, so couldn't save it.
All right, we'll show you the overall results. That pass did change everything. Villopoto would have won the overall if he had not been passed. Dungey gets him, and Chad Reed there salvages 5th overall with that 14th, and will also salvage some valuable points. And how about Trey Canard? First race back, he's on the podium.
Pretty impressive. But I'll tell you what's impressive is Dungey's got 4 in a row, 2 on the 250, 2 in the 450. The greatest of all time, Carmichael. 8 in a row in the 450 class, 2 in the 250 class, but there was 1 year that he didn't win. So Dungey on his way, though. 4 in a row. He's trying to match the greatest of all time.
Apply Carmichael standards. That's tough. Let's send it back down to Aaron Bates on the podium. Aaron?
Trey Canard making his debut in the 450, and not only did you make your debut, but you show up here and you make it on the podium. What does this moment mean to you, Trey?
I'm super happy. You know, it was a great race for me. You know, it's kind of a bummer those guys, you know, they beat me pretty good, but you know, I can't be too bummed on myself. I've only been on the bike so long, and man, just got to give it up to Lord Jesus Christ. You know, that's the reason I'm here, and whole Honda, Geico, and Rinthal. Alpine Stars, Fly, Liette Brace, Scott Goggles, DC, Fenton Motors, everyone, thank you so much.
All right, great start to your 450 outdoor career.
Well, folks, now that you know how dramatic this championship chase is going to be, you do not want to miss any of the upcoming rounds in our Toyota moving forward schedule. We'll be at Washougal next weekend with live coverage on speed. Take a few weeks off. We'll go to Unadilla, and then we'll roll through the rest of the Northeast. We'll be in Massachusetts, Pennsylvania. Look at how close it is now. Reed barely escapes with the points lead. Villopoto and Dungey are right there. This is going to be wild through the final 5 rounds of this championship. We've never seen a 450 class title fight shape up like this. These fans at Millville are never going to forget this day. Not only did their home track favorite win, but he did it in dramatic fashion. Chad Reed survived a wild crash to come back and race another day. You can't ask for more excitement than that. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching.
Is the sole property of the riders under the Pro Circuit Kawasaki tent. Baggett, Rattray, and Wilson each look to add their name to the list of greats that have raced and won titles for the sport's most successful team. Only 6 more rounds stand in between adding another #1 plate to the Pro Circuit hauler.
We're in Millville, Minnesota to kick off the second half of the 2011 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship in the 250 class. It's the Spring Creek Motocross National. Hello everyone, Jason Wygant, of course, joined by 4-time AMA National Champion Jeff Emig for Speed's continuing coverage of the 250 class of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Yes, here at round 7, we are starting the second half of our 12-race tour. But the story through the first half, it has been all about the Kawasaki riders. You see our big picture storylines, a trio of Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki boys, Tyler Rattray, Dean Wilson, Blake Baggett. They have won every single race so far this year. So as we go to the second half, the big question is, can anyone else on any other team break through and challenge those flying green Kawasaki's? Well, they weren't able to do it in practice. Tyler Rattray in the 28 machine was the fastest rider in time qualifying today. So certainly the veteran from South Africa has put himself on the board as the one to beat. So Jeff, let's swing it over to you. Spring Creek is a track that a lot of riders identify as their favorite. What is it about this track that's so challenging yet so fun at the same time?
Well, there's a few different factors, Jason. One being the soil, kind of a sandy clay here. We've had a lot of rain leading into this event. Even earlier today, rain has just been gone. The track is really shaping up great. Sun's coming out. It's getting humid though, so that's going to be challenging. Also, it's the obstacles they have here. They've got some really steep uphills and downhills, and of course the sand whoop section down in Spring Creek, which is challenging for all the riders. But this is the time of year that if you've got it together and you're fit, the bike's working great, you can really put on some strong rides and propel yourself to the championship.
All right, well, that's what Jeff thinks of the track. Let's find out what the top 250 riders think of racing here at Spring Creek.
Millville is pretty good. It's got a nice start, so you know, horsepower will be a key there, and then it's got a lot of sand. So I think the better sand riders will definitely be better on the bottom half of the track, and then the other side has some hills and some big jumps and off-camera corners. So that's it gets rutted up and pretty rough, and I think that's just going to be where somebody gets a good start, and then you just got to be smart and ride your own race there.
It's got some fun jumps where you can kind of style that a little bit, and I don't know, I just really liked it. I think it flows really nice, and it just maybe kind of suits my riding style a little bit.
Yeah, all that comes to my mind right now is those whoops. You lean back and you go through them for about 5 minutes. It feels like you just hold back and you just go for it. So yeah, Spring Creek, it's a little bit sandy. It's got a kind of good mix of dirt, so that's definitely a good thing, but the whoops are just crazy there.
Those whoops really take it out on you though, hitting those whoops down and then turn and then back. That really takes it out on you, and takes a lot of energy also to hit them fast, and obviously a lot of guys jump them, but I think it's faster just to get off the back and just hang it out down there.
Let's give you the race breakdown here with our Motocross 411. We will race 2 motos this afternoon, 40 riders in each moto, and the races last 30 minutes and 2 laps. Then we combine the scores from those 2 races to determine an overall winner in the 250 class this afternoon from Minnesota. So that's the riders taking the track. That's our breakdown of how they will race. A couple other things to take care of. First of all, we'll show you exactly what this track looks like. And it's all brought to you by Kawasaki and the 2012 KX450F, fully equipped and race ready. Jeff Emig, take us on a tour of Spring Creek.
Well, like the guy said, it's got a nice, long, open start. It's a right-hander, so it makes it a little bit tough because it's hard to keep your right foot on the rear brake. Get down into this whoop section. Track now is dried out. I think the whoops are gonna be really fast. Of course, all that deep sand, it really pulls down the engines on these 250Fs here, so horsepower is going to be key. Go up and down those hills, a couple of jump sections, the final uphill and downhill. Nice little tabletop over the Holy Schmidt and into the finish.
There's our GoPro lap. Take us through this section here, Jeff Emig.
Well, you notice track is really messy. And this is actually an uphill double that the riders will be jumping. But earlier today in qualifying practice, they just could not get the drive up. You can see a little bit of rain here on the lens, but it is hot and it is humid and it's sunny out, and it is a beautiful afternoon here for racing.
Well, we had a great race earlier today in our 250 class moto number 1. Let's give you the highlights here. Battling through the first turn, riders down right out of the gate. Kyle Cunningham and Dean Wilson are going to fight for the whole shot with a couple other riders just picking themselves out of the sand.
This class is so competitive, and it was great to see Cunningham on the Yamaha up there grab the start, but it didn't last long as Wilson was so determined to be out front.
So Wilson grabs the lead, then Rattray comes through, challenges Cunningham, and takes the number 2 spot away. A little bit further back. Here we go. Got the 19 of Eli Tomac making moves. He goes around Ryan Sipes on the number 25. Then a big crash for Justin Barsha. And report we're hearing is he broke his nose in that crash. That hurts. Sipes here in the 25 had some problems, and he started going backwards, got zapped by the 46 of Alex Martin, whose parents own this track. Yeah, he definitely has some friends and family here cheering him on. Late in the race, Rattray in the 28 would catch Wilson in a battle for the lead. Wilson would just hang on by 0.6 of a second for the victory after 30 minutes and 2 laps of battle. So now we're ready to set it up again and go racing in Moto 2. Dean Wilson has the Moto 1 win over Tyler Rattray and Blake Baggett. So it was 1-2-3 Kawasaki again. Will it be 1-2-3 again? And even if so, will it be the same order? We're about to find out. Another one of the Yamahas with another great start. They've been pulling them in every moto.
And did you see where Justin Barsha was? Had to line up on the inside. He was second around the first turn, almost with the whole shot.
It's Cunningham in the 35 leading. Rattray is on your left. Barsha is on your right. And Barsha, by the way, yes, broke his nose in the first moto. We didn't even think we'd see him out here. Rattray going after Cunningham for the lead.
Wow, look how much these sand whoops have sped up from Moto 1 for these 250Fs. Allow them to really track through this and carry their momentum. But how about Cunningham, DNA Shred Sticks Yamaha out front? These
Where did Wilson come from?
Cosworth engines they've got working. Somebody's been doing their work during the week, and I think it's the Yamaha boys because they are definitely on fire here today.
Yeah, unbelievable. The starts that team has been pulling. I don't know where Dean Wilson came from, but he is now up to third on the 15 behind Rattray, who is in second. Well, and it's Alex Martin up in the number 4 spot. Yeah, how about that for the home track kid? Give you the Rocky Mountain ATV MC keys to the race for Amart.
Yeah, use his home track knowledge. He did in Moto 1, all the way inside the top 10 after being out. Dominate the whoops. Let's see what sort of technique he has down through there. And of course, he knows how to handle this. He's been in this situation before.
Got Ryan Sipes, that's Cunningham's teammate on the Yamaha behind him. So once again, a bunch of Yamahas up there on the start. And look at this, Cunningham beginning to pull away just a bit from Rattray. Halfway through this lap, it looked like Rattray wanted to make the move. Now in the latter stages of it, the 35 getting away, then it's Wilson, and nowhere in sight is Blake Baggett, the man who won the last 2 rounds of this series.
Yeah, but this is around the second turn area. But coming, Wilson sits down in the wrong spot. He was really fortunate that it only popped up a little bit and not forward. 5 overalls. Runner-ups.
Yeah, he's sick of that. Now, he got the first moto win. But how about Alex Martin? You're challenging Wilson to try to get up into the top 3 early.
Just at the top of your screen. A couple of turns ago, Martin was right on Wilson. Come down that section. That's where Barsha went down hard in Moto 1. Great to see him back on the bike again.
Headed toward those infamous sand whoops, and Rattray, who almost took the lead through here a lap ago, is going to try it again.
Tries around the outside, and see how you kind of get down in, and then the bike compresses. I think he's got it, Weege.
And he's going to shut the door on Cunningham, take the line away. He does have it, Jeff. So Rattray into the lead. Wilson in third is going to have to respond. Wilson won the first moto. Doesn't want to give any of those points back here in our second race.
I tell you, Wilson, he needs to make the move on Cunningham quick. Okay, unless Cunningham can stay on the rear fender here of Rattray.
Well, so far he has. He's not a roadblock. He is running the pace for certain. And I don't know if this is really a surprise anymore. Cunningham has been very strong and consistent the last couple of weeks, and he's right in the mix.
Wilson almost gets on the outside of that berm.
Cunningham trying to come back on Rattray. Now to make it happen, but forget about holding off Wilson for second. He wants the lead.
I tell you, Weeds, this track at this time of day, it's so difficult, but when you're on and your bike is working good, the engine's crisp, the chassis, you know, is just smooth and you feel comfortable, you can really lay it down here at this track.
There's Wilson back there in third looking for running room. He still has Martin behind him in fourth. But Kyle Cunningham is the one, at least early, to try to break up this Kawasaki domination at the top of the charts. But you know Wilson is going to be strong late in this race. Same for Rattray. We'll see if the 35 of Cunningham can stay with these guys all the way to the end, because it is hot today and it is rough on this track. Wilson closing back up now to the rear wheel of Cunningham.
Yeah, and in case you're wondering, Baggett, 21st last lap around.
Wow.
The other Pro Circuit teammate, Tickle, he runs in 10th. They had 4 riders inside of the top 6 in Moto 1. Now the riders are a little bit scattered, but they still have the #1 spot.
We're headed to the sand whoops again. Rattray got around Cunningham the last time around. Let's see if Wilson is able to do the same thing to Cunningham this time, Jeff.
Wide line. Let's see if it works out for him. He's got some momentum on the outside.
And he's going to try the same exact thing, and he makes it work. So Dean Wilson into second. Did he watch Rattray do that?
Maybe they talked about it. You know, we'll see. But the bottom line is Wilson now is in the position to challenge for the lead.
All right, we've got a great setup, and you know Cunningham's going to give it everything he has to keep those two in sight. Lots to see and do here at Millville.
Every rider is meant.
We have got the perfect scenario here at Millville in the 250 class, Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. The 28, Tyler Rattray in the lead. The 15 of Dean Wilson in second, and looking to take the lead from him, Jason Wygant, Jeff Emig, Aaron Bates calling the action here. And it is some action. Look at Wilson.
Wilson really using that tall stature of his to gain some leverage going through the sand whoops. Wow, he is really applying the pressure to his teammate Tyler Rattray. They're turning 208s. Everyone else is a 210 or above. So they're flying right now.
Yeah, they're going to probably put a little distance. As you can see, Cunningham, the third place rider, has dropped about 1.5 seconds behind them. They have definitely pushed the pace once these two got into first and second.
Well, you got to think that through these tight, rutted corners here, the slower section, Rattray seems to may have a little bit of the advantage. But when you get to the sand whoops, Dean Wilson is on it. He is really carrying some momentum around the outside.
Now, so far, so good. Right, they've all got better sections. Watch Brock Tickle here in the replay. The whoops, definitely a bad section for him. So he goes down. Tickle right now just trying to stay inside the top 10. He was 8th at the end of the previous lap. Losing a little ground now. And as for Blake Baggett, the fourth member of the team, he is up to 15th after a terrible start. He's going to lose a lot of points in the series unless he can somehow at least make it up around the top 5.
Yeah, and of course in the first moto, Baggett was 3rd, put on a pretty strong ride to get up to 3rd, and Tickle, a great ride up into 6th. So this is definitely going to be tough for them to get some top 5 overalls when the day is done.
Cunningham still 3rd. Great ride for the kid out of Texas who had a podium at our race in Texas at Freestone Raceway.
Very similar type track, at least the section that he's in right now. Resembled Texas quite a bit. I think the way that the ruts have shaped up, the turns, similar soil.
There's Alex Martin, the home track specialist. Literally, his parents own the track. Now, if you're thinking he has an unfair advantage, yeah, he did grow up racing here, but most of the year he does not live in Millville. That's where his family is, but you want to be a motocross racer, you got to escape the harsh Minnesota winters for most of the months of the year. So he spends a lot of time in Florida, Georgia, California. It's kind of a homecoming for him. Here's Barsha. Give this guy a Tough Man Award. Aaron, what are you hearing on the number 17?
Tough Man Award for sure for Justin Barsha and Eli Tomac, actually. The Geico Honda team had a tough luck during that first moto. We witnessed Barsha go down. He broke his nose. He decided last second that he was going to line up for the second moto, and Eli Tomac pulled off his 2 laps to go during that first moto. Wasn't feeling well, but he opted to be back out here racing again.
And Tomac is in 14th, just trying to score some points. That's just the way it has gone for this Geico Honda team this summer. Not get any momentum.
It's been difficult, and they've rotated some riders in and out, like Lance Vincent. They have Will Hahn back, and their teammate Hahn right now is actually he's not having a good moto.
He is in 10th. Darren
10th.
Durham.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Darren Durham has, on this privateer Honda, really turned in some great rides. Been a consistent top 10 guy. Has had a couple of top 5s. Here he is challenging Barsha to try to get into the top 5. And now we've got the 156 of Jason Anderson. We finally found Jason Anderson. By the way, we just found the 57 of Blake Baggett as well. So Baggett is moving toward the top 10. Here's the 139 of Malcolm Stewart. So he is 7th. Stewart on the Suzuki City ARMA back machine. Then behind him is Anderson. And Anderson and Stewart are both rookies. It's been a pretty good rookie year for Malcolm here. Been a pretty bad rookie year for Anderson, who will come through next. And in fact, his team decided to let him take a few weeks off so he would get a month worth of training without having to travel to the races. And he looks to have rebounded a lot better here at Millville. Now we go to Baggett, who is in the number 9 spot. So Anderson is 8th, Baggett is 9th. This guy won the last 2 races overall. Today, he's just trying to score some points. Definitely not going to win the overall. So we'll see how far up through the field the 57 can go. Can he even get to the top 5? It's going to be tough. That's some fast riders in the spots in front of him.
On an all-new
at Millville, but it is on. Not too far back, his teammate Dean Wilson. Wilson just made a mistake, and that allowed Rattray to pull it back out. Wednesday night, the car show with Adam Carolla is all new. AC/DC's Brian Johnson raced a Lamborghini through New York City, and the boys give some driving lessons to some beautiful students. So don't miss the car show, Wednesday night, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on Speed. Debut episode of that show just a couple of days ago. It was awesome. Excited about episode number 2. Trying to teach some girls how to drive a Dodge Viper. Ride Lamborghinis to New York City. And how about Dean Wilson? Every time we think that he's got this figured out, Rattray's able to respond and pull back away.
Wilson's starting to get a little momentum, a line over that single. Taking a look back to 3rd here at Cunningham, has put in a pretty strong ride. He's running some 210s right now. It's not bad at all. Leader Rattray was a 207 and Wilson a 208, but Cunningham really hanging in there. But look at Martin now with that outside line. His teammate Durham, who has been the star 1110 mods rider this season, getting outshined here by the local boy Alex Martin.
So Martin's 4th, Durham is 5th. Right behind him, Barsha. And right behind them is Stewart and then Baggett. So we got 4 riders. That is 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. And they are all in the same exact section of the track. Here comes Baggett, and he's going to make a move around Stewart in an area I've never seen someone make a pass on this track.
Wow, Baggett just had the momentum there. Now he goes by Barsha. Pretty easy down the downhill.
We are finally seeing the Blake Baggett we expect.
Is the Chupacabra sighting?
Yes, folks, and it is real. And no surprise, we're seeing it at about the 15-minute mark. That's when he likes to make his charge. He's about to pass 3 riders in 3 turns. How does he do this?
Wow, he is on rails now, right at the 15-minute mark, plus 2 laps to go. That's incredible. Puts him up into 4th place.
Well, our question was, could he get to the top 5? Not an issue anymore. Now we'll see if he can track down Martin for that 4th place spot. So he's 5th, salvaging points. And that's what it's all about in a day like today for Baggett, who did have a big crash not that long ago. Aaron, I was talking about it earlier on when we covered our first moto earlier today. Had a crash. There was a rumor that he had broken his collarbone. Turned out he was okay, at least no broken bones, but did miss some riding and training time leading up to this race. Wow. See the way he just hit that corner?
Halfway, 8 seconds.
Well, we'll see, because the bad news for him is that Cunningham has done a good job of trying to keep Wilson and Rattray in sight. That's your 3rd place rider. So Baggett's going to have to try to catch Martin, this man, on the 46, and then Cunningham if he wants a spot on the podium in this race. But Martin and Cunningham have been tough. So far, they have hung with the leaders. They've kept them in sight, and look at the gap they've built.
Baggett, excuse me, I said he was 4th earlier. Martin's 4th, Baggett's 5th. Last time around, Martin was a 2:11.9, so right at a 2:12. Baggett, a 2:08 flat. 4 seconds. Last lap, he was 4 seconds quicker than Martin, so let's see if he can chip away that 8-second lead that Martin has.
All right, so here is Baggett, and he came in here 2nd in the points. He was only 2 points ahead of his teammate Rattray, and then they were tied at the end of Moto 1. And he might lose a few more here, but he's going to do his best to minimize the damage. There you see the gap between Martin and Baggett.
Yeah, it was about the distance of that downhill from corner to corner. But one thing that Baggett looks like he's doing is he's found some great lines. He's finding some smooth lines and really getting some drive. It looks like to me he's taking totally different lines than our leaders have been running. But hey, Rattray just turned a 2:06 last lap around. Wow. So Rattray has wicked it up.
And the gap 4 seconds now between Rattray and Wilson. So we'll focus in here on Baggett as he tries to focus in on Martin and Cunningham, who are the 2 riders in front of him. And each position he can get represents 2 huge championship points. All the point scenarios are big as we reach your second half of the year, and you have 3 riders, Baggett, Wilson, Rattray, battling for this championship. But how about Alex Martin? Earlier today in our 450 class, Minnesota's own Ryan Dungey won. And let's see if Martin can make these fans happy as well. At least put that machine up in the top 5. That would be impressive for a rider who does not have the backing of one of the big teams. This 11-10 mod squad, what they've been able to do with Martin and Durham this summer. It's one of the best stories of the year. I don't think Baggett's impressed by that.
Nah, Baggett's rocking right now, though. 2:10 last lap, Martin at 2:12.
So we might have a battle for 4th when we return here to Spring Creek as Rattray tries to hold Wilson at bay. Oh, there he goes. Tyler Rattray in the 28 is putting a sprint down here in the second half of this race. It's a 30-minute race. We are reaching the 2/3 mark as you see 10 minutes to go and then 2 laps after that. And he's trying to wheelie away from his teammate, Dean Wilson.
Let's take a look at the progressive hole shot here. 40 riders barreling down into a right-hander. Inside, Barsha almost has it, but it's the Yamaha of Cunningham that's going to come out with the hole shot, #1 spot.
Yeah, and he held the lead for a few laps. Eventually, Rattray was able to get behind the sand whoops. Dean Wilson followed him. He got into 2nd, and for a while, Wilson was right there keeping the pressure on, but now you see the gap. There's Wilson with the red number plate. That signifies he is your series leader. Wilson is now 6.4 seconds back. So there's one thing you knew you could count on with Rattray, was fitness and just overall toughness late in the motos, and that is paying off here.
Yeah,
pretty big distance back to Cunningham, Jeff.
Yeah, Cunningham logged a 2:12.7 last lap around, dropped off the lead about 22 seconds. Rattray had a 2:08 though, had a 2:07 just before that.
Here it is, Martin on the outside, too far outside. He goes off the track, and that's going to allow Baggett to take over the number 4 position. What's the old phrase there? Just a bit outside.
Yeah.
Was Martin's line to do there. So Baggett says, thanks, I didn't even have to eat any sand kicked up from that back tire. So he's picked up 2 more points in the series by moving from 5th to 4th. Martin still in the top 5 though, that's a great run.
7th in Moto 1.
Yeah. This kid's been a pro for a couple of years. He's capable of these types of rides. Follow the Rocky Mountain ATV MC keys to the race here, Jeff. That's what Alex Martin needed to do.
Yeah, he's used the local knowledge. He found some great lines earlier. Dominate the whoops a little bit. And he actually found the smoothest line that anyone has found through the sand whoops, although he was outside of the track markers. I'm sure right now, though, under his helmet, he's awfully hot because it is hot and humid out here today.
All right, show us what happened here. Baggett on the left and Martin on the right on the 46.
Yeah, he had a line coming down 3 or 4 feet from the track markers, but he got a little squirrely there as he was really trying to hold off the charge of Baggett. Goes off the track.
All right, so he is in 5th. Man, has he got to work to stay on top of that bike, got to track this rough.
Well, that's when the suspension, chassis setup, so important right now because your body's not feeling so good. Muscles are starting to weaken, heart rate's maxed out, starting to feel a little pain from lactic acid buildup in your body.
Here's Cunningham in 3rd. He is the last remaining obstacle to Baggett coming from outside the top 20 to try to put it in the top 3. And I want to ask you one more thing. Some people talk about suspension fade. Is that something that the bikes at this level deal with? And also, what is that?
I don't think so. You know, not these days. I mean, if it does, it's pretty small. But the fade you're talking about is when the suspension components heat up and oil gets a little thinner and the dampening doesn't work quite as well as it would. So the bike would really loosen up. And if you're, you know, if bike maybe be a little more springy, a little softer, a little quicker on the rebound. But overall, I mean, you can see Baggett, he's on the move right now. Turned to 2:09. Cunningham was a 2:15 last lap around. They were only about 4 seconds apart. So this race here is really going to tighten up. And Cunningham is the last line of defense here to keep Pro Circuit from going 1, 2, 3 in each moto.
We'll see how much Cunningham here in the blue has left to fight Baggett off with, and unfortunately, he's got to do it for quite some time. 6.5 minutes and then 2 laps left in this moto, and the way Baggett is catching him, you got to figure he'll be up to that rear wheel soon and applying pressure, and then we'll see if Cunningham can hold him at bay. Still been a great run for Cunningham the last few weeks. This great run, though, might have come to an end. Malcolm Stewart through the whoops here on the left on the 139.
Yeah, he's trying to get past Audette there on the Yamaha, but just stuffs the front wheel going in. You notice he kind of gets his left foot caught under the bars there. Might have twisted that left knee or something.
Yeah, cannot get out. He has lost a bunch of positions, did Stewart, who was in 8th. He's battling it out with Audette. Here's Baggett going after Cunningham to try to get to 3rd. We'll see if he can get him as they deal with a rough track, lap riders, hot and humid conditions. What else is there to fight off today?
From groundbreaking motor
or cheesy potato skins. Mmm.
Tyler Rattray pulling away from Dean Wilson. It is now a 14-second gap. And we all knew that this guy would be tough, he'd be strong, he'd be fit. And he has proven it on one of the roughest tracks of the year. Hot, humid conditions late in the race is where he has done the damage.
He likes to call the heat down in South Africa hot. Right. I don't think it's going to be that hot for him here today, but it certainly is hot and humid, and that his preparation has shown. He got out front, wasn't pressured by Dean Wilson when Dean was trying to apply the pressure. He never cracked, still turning a 2:10. Baggett, the only other rider with that good of lap time, and it's been a pretty impressive ride here for Rattray, who sat third in points coming into this. Looks like he's going to pick up a spot and possibly leave here in second in points, one step closer to Wilson.
And a nice bounce back. Rattray had the points lead just a few weeks ago and then had a bunch of bad motos. Crashed and had bad starts Colorado. Had a bad start in the first moto last week at Redbud. Was able to rebound with a solid second moto and then maybe a win here. Meanwhile, we'll find out more what's happening with this team. Aaron, what do you hear on the 15?
Dean Wilson is doing everything in his power in order to get that first overall of the season. It doesn't look likely at this point, but what he did during his week off, he rode a 450 in order to change up his style and his riding technique a little bit, get himself a little bit more comfortable. So they're doing everything they can just to get any additional edge.
Well, it's both frustrating and not frustrating, Jeff, because through this all, he is the series points leader, which at the end of the year, that's the ultimate goal, to win the championship. But this would be the 6th consecutive second-place finish. How do you not get bummed, even though you're the points leader, to come so close but still not get a win? How do you avoid getting frustrated? Because really everything he's doing is right.
Yeah, and that would be the thing, you know, win the championship is the goal, but you got to think that you got to win some overalls along the way, because there is bonuses for the riders for the overalls from the manufacturers and their sponsors. Plus, there is some incentive to win the overall. That's your name gets in the record book as the overall winner. Those are things that we count. There's really no difference in points, because our championship points are based off of each moto. Of course, if you win the overall, you have the most points, and that's best towards the championship, but it's kind of a pride thing too. You want to win that OA.
So as we watch Baggett, who has made the move on Cunningham to get to third, how quickly things can change. At our last race, Wilson was frustrated with the kind of speed that Baggett was throwing down. Now it's Rattray who Wilson is trying to match. Let's go back to this third place battle. There's Cunningham and there's Baggett, Jeff.
Around the outside here, and just carries a little more momentum there coming in. Doesn't hurt that Cunningham makes a small mistake on the exit. Really no chance after that. Baggett been on the move though. He's flying.
Start really did him in. Maybe we'll have to find out. I wouldn't be surprised if there was maybe a mistake or a crash early, because he was outside of the top 20 early in this moto. He put the classic Blake Baggett second half charge in, but it was way too far back and way too late to catch up to his teammates. Not the way they are riding today. Rattray and Wilson have been on it from the moment we dropped the gate. But still a good job by Baggett to salvage points. That has been his problem on the days where he hasn't been able to win. He has had terrible finishes. To go 3-3 on one of the off days is actually a sign of improvement. And you know he'll want to get his win streak back. We'll be racing 1 week from today at the beautiful Washougal Motocross Park in Washington. And we'll see these three men and more square off again. It seems like every week we have this class figured out of who's the fastest guy, and then they change it up. Today the answer may just be Tyler Rattray. We'll see if he can stay there in the #1 spot.
This summer,
Tyler Rattray, one of the toughest men in this sport, is proving why right now. Took second in our first race today behind his teammate Dean Wilson, and has come back, found some confidence, and held off Wilson late in this one. 2 laps to go. We'll see if Rattray can hang on. He's got a 15-second lead over his teammate Wilson. Thursday, hitch a ride on the all-new American Trucker as Rob gets up close and personal with the most famous and iconic American big rig. It's a Freightliner adventure on an all-new American Trucker Thursday at 10 Eastern on Speed.
Taking a look at Rattray here, trying to add his name to the list of overall winners. Of course, the first 250 class, which was the 125 two-stroke back in the days, was won by Ron Lachine, the Dogger, on a Yamaha back in 1983.
I think he was 17 years old, I think, at the time.
Quite a bit different. And of course, one of the local legends here, Donnie Schmidt, gave Suzuki a win here in '87 and backed it up with another win in '88. So pretty impressive.
Yeah, and Schmidt, a local product, a Minnesota rider, and they've actually named one of the jumps after him. Rattray will be there in a couple of moments. We'll point that jump out. They call it the Holy Schmidt in honor of the late Donnie Schmidt. And he was a multi-time world champion in Europe. Speaking of that, Rattray has a world championship in Europe of his own. Spent a lot of years battling for that, and once he won it, checked that off the career to-do list, and then immediately moved to the United States. Struggled in 2009 here, had a great year last year, finished second in the series behind Trey Canard in the final standings. And this year he wants to be champion when it's all over. And with rides like this, he might just get it done, but it's going to be tough, battling it out with Wilson and Baggett. There is the Holy Schmidt jump, and here is the white flag. 1 lap to go for Rattray. A lot of people were wondering, man, once this guy got the points lead, it started to fall apart. He couldn't get starts, hit a couple of crashes. Wilson and Baggett were getting the drop on him. Whatever he did during that week off was right, because he has responded today.
14.2 seconds ahead of Wilson. Rattray just turned to 2:15. Obviously, you can see in his body language, he's backed off the pace quite a bit. Going to try to keep it on 2 wheels here, not do anything crazy and make any mistakes. But behind Wilson, Baggett, about another 16 seconds behind. But still, 1, 2, 3, both motos, Pro Circuit Kawasaki.
Unbelievable. The level that this team has been on since they started in 1991. It'd be hard to believe that they could have a season unlike they've ever had before, but this might be the best yet. We've never seen 3 riders on this team battle for a championship. We've seen 2.
Yeah, and it's going to be great timing. This Wednesday, Kawasaki's actually having a celebration for Pro Circuit Kawasaki and all of their success with the Kawasaki 250 machine here. So nice way to head into that event.
Well, to give you an idea of the stature of this team, Rattray, when he won his championship in Europe, was a KTM rider, and he had a big money deal from KTM to stay in Europe. But he said, I want to race in the United States, and I want to race for the Pro Circuit team. I want to ride for Mitch Payton. That's not how you negotiate if you want to make the big money. Like, he pretty much said, I don't care what you pay me. I want to ride for your team on your bikes. And they have gotten a lot of great riders because of that. The great ones come to them to ride for the team. It's not about money when you get on Pro Circuit. It's about getting on the team that has all the #1 plates if you want one of your own. And that's what Rattray wants.
Yeah, and this is the type of organization that you're, as a rider, you would be comfortable with. Taking massive bonuses, because you know you have the best equipment. If you believe in yourself, it's a great combination. You can make more money that way.
Well, Rattray's going to cash a nice check today on his green bike. He's earning the greenbacks because he is going to win here at Millville. And he is back after a couple of off weekends. Puts the machine into victory lane again. Made up some valuable points in the championship. We'll be back to talk to him in a moment. It to Tyler Rattray, but Rattray was able to hold him off and take the victory today. We'll show you the Lucas Oil race recap on how it broke down. The 35 of Kyle Cunningham on the Yamaha's got the early lead. Rattray is determined. He goes around the outside, the long way around through the roughest section of this track, takes over the #1 spot.
Yeah, Rattray was on a mission here, and this is the local boy, Alex Martin, trying to hold off Blake Baggett, but couldn't keep the Honda on the track. And watch Baggett around the outside of Cunningham, so Cunningham gives up a position in the same spot to all 3 Pro Circuit riders.
Rattray hangs on. Wilson snuck into second around Cunningham pretty quick, kept the heat on the 28, but was not able to break him, not able to make the move. So that means Rattray's your winner, and he's on the podium with Aaron Bates.
Tyler Rattray managed to hold off his teammate Dean Wilson for quite some time. You didn't succumb to any of the pressure out there. Tyler, take us through all the suspension testing that you did last week. Did that really pay off here today?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's Bones works really hard, and we spent a lot of hours out of the test track, and I can't thank him enough. My bike was awesome, and we made a couple of changes for that second motor, and it just worked perfect. And it was a good day. I need to close down that point gap to Dean, and we left Chad-a-pult. So got to keep working hard. I know my fitness is good, and just want to thank everyone from Monster Kawasaki, Pro Circuit Kawasaki, Spartan Limited, Thor, Vans, Volcom, all my buddies in South Africa, Mark, Sean, Jeff, Kuhn, and my wife, my mom, and my parents, and obviously Alden for having the best program out there.
Congratulations on a well-deserved victory today.
and we'll show you some of the upcoming events on this tour, our Toyota moving forward schedule. Going to be a big weekend for this series next weekend. Live on Speed, both our 450 class and 250 class. That's July 23rd, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And you do not want to miss that. Then we'll have a couple of weekends off of the big amateur extravaganza down at Loretta Lynn Ranch. Then the Pro Tour will resume on August 13th, upstate New York. Then we'll go to Southwick and then Steel City just outside of Pittsburgh. Of course, all your 250 races covered right here on Speed. That's your Toyota moving forward schedule. We'll be back to talk to more riders on the podium when we come back to Spring Creek.
Friday, the Nest.
Welcome back to Millville, Minnesota's Spring Creek Motocross Park. These fans got to watch some great racing today. Tyler Rattray comes out on top in the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship, and we'll show you the results of this race. Behind him, no surprise, his teammates. It's been 1, 2, 3 with these riders all year long, Wilson and Baggett. And then Cunningham, another solid run for fourth. I believe 4 fourth-place finishes in a row for him. Alex Martin, the home track hero, finishes in the top 5. Let's send it down to Aaron Bates on the podium.
The look on his face says everything. Dean Wilson, second place again. Dean, you've even rode the 450 to give yourself a little bit of a different riding style, a little technique. What else can you do to get the job done?
I think maybe hydrate a little bit better. I mean, I don't feel like I drank enough water yesterday, and you know, first moto I was dying after. I apologize to all my sponsors. I totally forgot, and I know it was a pretty bad speech, but I mean, it happens. I was just boiling, and you know, so for the second moto, you know, I did what I could, and I'm just happy to get a second. Tyler were amazing, and it sucks he's in such good shape because it's so tough, but you know, that's just what drives me and pushes me, and you know, hopefully I can get him, you know, next weekend, and you know, gain a couple points, so I can't complain with that. And you know, I just want to thank the sponsors I forgot in the first moto: Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Dunlop, Parts Unlimited, Scott, my mom and dad, my mechanic Paul, trainer Sam. Big shout out to Toyota Escondido for hooking me up with my truck. Everybody else, I may have forgot. Thank you.
Congratulations on a job well done today.
Now the good news for Wilson is he actually ties Rattray on points. The tiebreaker in the overall win goes to Rattray by virtue of the better second moto finish. But you see in the series standings, they each scored 47 points, and they gained 7 on Baggett. Let's send it back down to Aaron with Blake Baggett.
Blake Baggett is making his way up onto the podium here. 3rd overall for the day. Blake, coming into today, you were extremely sore. Are you excited about the outcome of today?
No, I'm definitely not excited. Just bummed. Just shoulders hurting. When the crash during the week, just struggling. Hard to hold on. My hand went numb, like 6 laps to go. So it's gonna be a rough next 2 weeks, but you know, 3-3's not bad. Some people would, you know, kill for this, but really like to go 1-1. Just go back home and work hard and try to get my shoulder 100%. But I got to give it up to my team: Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Parts Unlimited, Volcom, Vans, Traxxas RC cars, SoCal Super Trucks, my trainer Alden Baker, my mom, my dad, my girlfriend Keely. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here.
Well, Blake Baggett, that's the one problem he has this year. Very little margin for error because he had a couple of bad races already. So when he loses 7 points like he did today, look at the damage. He is now 21 points back. You only gain 25 points if you win a whole moto. So he's nearly a whole moto back now. Wilson and Rattray are still close.
Yeah, and Cunningham leapfrogs Tomac there up into 4th.
All right, so impressive there. The consistency there. Fuel your passion for motorcycle racing with Speed Motorcycle Text Alerts. Powered by Yamaha. Get the latest moto racing results and breaking news sent to your phone as soon as they're available. Text MOTO to Speed 3 for the alerts now. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for joining us at Spring Creek. Congratulations to your overall winner, the South African veteran, Tyler Rattray. Thanks for watching.